Merry Christmas, everybody. This is our special Christmas edition of the Pubcast, and I'm glad that you guys are joining us here today. Hopefully, we can entertain you tonight for a couple hours as you guys are might be doing last-minute gift wrapping. I know that's been something that's a tradition in my family, as we always struggle to get presents wrapped before Christmas morning. But I'm glad that you guys are joining me today, along with our wonderful co-host. We have Tom from America Floats here tonight.
Hello, good morning, and Merry Christmas, everybody.
We also have Abby from Conspiracy Pilled.
Good morning.
We have Katie Zed from Overruled.
Hello, nice to be here.
And of course, our lost co-host that decided to go spelunking last week, PJ, also the co-host of Conspiracy Pilled, is joining us tonight.
Merry Christmas, Frank. How's it going?
Fantastic, man. It was like something was missing last week without you being here, PJ. I told my wife after the show, I said, typically when I have PJ there, he'll have like stories that we already talked about. They're all pulled up, and I'm like trying to do like these three other things, trying to pull stories, and it was off the rails. And I don't know what we were doing at one point. But it's glad to have you back tonight.
I missed one stream and the whole thing falls apart. I know. I see how it goes.
It did.
Oh my goodness. So good evening to all of you guys out there in the chat tonight. Thank you for coming in stopping by the Pubcast. We have some light stories we'll be talking about tonight. We got some other stories that we will dive in and tap into, especially the ongoings happening in France, Paris. If you don't know, diversity is our strength, and we're going to show you why that is a little bit later. Why playing with toys and getting toys as an adult, it's kind of weird, or maybe it's not. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well. And of course,
it's not weird. I can answer that right now. It's not weird. It's fine.
We're also going to take a look at the true crime scene, and is that community toxic, or are they actually doing real good work? Katie Zed will weigh in on that. And we got so many other stories that we'll talk about. Some deep fakes that we think that Joe Biden Christmas pictures they've been setting out. Dude's not the same dude. Me and Tom will discuss that here in a little bit. But good evening to everybody. I saw we had a super chat up. Thank you to, who is that? Lit.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the $10 super chat.
Cheers.
And I missed it. Here, thank you so much.
I think I picked too delicious of a drink tonight because I have alcoholic eggnog here, and it's like half gone, and we haven't even started yet. And this is all that I have.
That was full like 5 minutes ago.
It's so good. It's so good.
I watched you pour it.
Yeah, I know. And I've got porters and stuff that are kind of Christmassy, so I can grab one of those if I run out. But yeah.
So how cold is it where you guys are? We're in the cyclone bomb. Is that what they called it, PJ?
I don't know what they called it. It's terrible out there,
cyclone.
The bomb cyclone.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
So
it was 5 degrees this morning. It says it's 14 now in the corner of my screen.
What about you, Katie Zed?
It was, I think it got down to like 9 degrees today. It's 20 degrees right now. I just pulled it up.
PJ?
Well, I'm in Michigan as well as Tom, so it's been cold. I think this morning I had to start my car and it was like 5 or 6 degrees, but then there was like a negative with the wind chill, and my car was like having a hard time starting. So it's pretty cold.
I would have a hard time starting. Wow.
It's supposed to be negative 7 and negative 12. What the feels like today.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Abby, what do you got there?
17 degrees in the West
Balmy.
Virginia, Northern Virginia area. And I'm from Maine, so I'm just laughing.
A little clammy at 17.
I was going to say, that's warm.
Yeah, it's 27 degrees here in northern Florida where I'm at. So
What's funny, it's the warmest where Frank's at, yet he's the most bundled up.
Yeah, he also feels the most cold relative to how we're all like, yeah, we're fine. It's only just, about 30 degrees. If you touch the window, you're going to freeze your fingers. And
I'm not
Frank's
fine.
got gloves on, and he's
not yet. But I do have them.
To put it in perspective, the year my daughter was born, it got to negative 40. So we're in northern Michigan. It was like
probably move.
That's an
my
omen.
car.
What happens?
My car wouldn't start. Our pipes froze. We had to leave the water running all day for a month because
her name's not Elsa, is it?
No. No.
Dave Kranick says negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit and 55 inches of snow. Been snowed in for 6 days.
Pixar, it didn't happen.
Like, where is that? Alaska?
Actually, it is Alaska.
Is it?
I was gonna say probably Alaska.
He's Alaska.
I've been to Alaska, but in the summertime, like a normal person.
Sleeper says it's 65. We have number 2. He's from Indiana, 12 degrees there.
Yeah.
So 23 wherever Oscar is, and negative 11 with wind chill, says Mayor. So there you
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
They must mean wind chill.
Yeah, I think it said windshield, but yeah.
Windshield.
It's 11. It's -11 with your windshield.
Imagine if they didn't have
If
a
they
windshield.
didn't have the windshield, it'd be real
It would
cold
be
in that
so
car.
much colder.
And Arizona here says tomorrow's 72 degrees. Speaking
right,
of
well,
Arizona.
Wow.
Yeah, Arizona's
Get
just
outta
a
here.
black cloud right now in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start off there. Let's start off with Arizona because we recently was doing a stream covering the trial of Katie Hobbs or Carrie Lake versus Katie Hobbs in Maricopa County Supervisor of Election Boards. And we were covering that, me, PJ, and Katie Zed on Thursday. And we were discussing how high of a bar that was going to take in order to prove intent. I think is what we were discussing
Right.
on that day. And, I didn't want to sell you guys hopium at the time. I was telling you guys, I really want it to go Carrie Lake's way because I think the evidence all points in that direction. And I believe it was Katie Zed that said she didn't believe the judge was going to want to wade into the political sphere of it, and he would more than likely rule against Carrie Lake. So any thoughts as we get going?
Yeah, I mean, no matter what he decides, it's a political decision. That's the point I was making the other day. It's kind of funny because everything becomes a political decision. Even the Kyle Rittenhouse trial was like, the judge had to make it was an obvious case that never should have even went to trial. But in that one, it was still the judge was going to be looked at one way or the other. And this is like even worse. So,
Well, I think in this case, though, if it's a difference between setting a precedent and not. If he doesn't do anything, it's not setting a precedent. So,
right, and that's going to be harder for a judge to want to do.
Right, but he ruled today against Carrie Lake.
Right,
and so he says they have till Monday to appeal that decision. But as of right now, Katie Hobbs was declared the victor after this trial. Tom, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think that they're going to appeal, right? She said they would. She said for the sake of having the honest and fair election, she will appeal it, which I feel like maybe that's someone should have helped her with the statement because it's also for the sake of Arizonans. If you honestly believe that the Arizonans elected you and you are the only person who can continue to sue up that ladder, then it's incumbent upon you to do that. So yeah, it's for the sake of an honest and fair election, but it's also for the sake of your voters. And I almost think if the judge is trying to maybe be wise, he knows, like you said, he doesn't have to do anything but say, pass the buck. You can appeal it, but I don't have to be the one who gets killed for this.
He's Pontius Pilate washing his hands is what he is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hand Jesus to the Romans and let them do what they will.
Right.
And wink, wink. It's not the Jews at all. Wink, wink.
Well, I hope she takes us all the way to the Supreme Court. I mean, that's the thing. I think it has to be appealed all the way until the end because, there's the whole chain. I feel like there's a lot of different good evidence brought up, but the chain of custody one is what keeps sticking to me. The fact that was even admitted into evidence, the fact that they had no chain of custody. If Katie Hobbs' team, if Maricopa County had the proof, which is they legally have to have proof of chain of custody, then that would have been shown and it would have been admitted from evidence. The fact that they don't have it in and of itself should have been enough. Like everything else was just icing on the cake after that.
I think the other thing that stuck out to me is the change of the paper size last minute.
Right.
Yes.
It almost feels like that was on purpose.
Because
It couldn't have been anything else. It couldn't be anything else but on purpose.
Yeah.
That's why this judge, I feel like the judge couldn't have ruled the way that he has, just dismissing everything and shutting it down without knowing. And he did say, he's like, you can appeal. You have till Monday to appeal. He knows they're going to appeal and he knows they'll probably win on the appeal or it will go further. And he doesn't have to be the one to make the hard decision, which is not a hard decision, but it's a hard position to be in.
I think the only way we win is if it does go all the way to the Supreme Court. I think all of these courts in between here and there, and that's if the Supreme Court will even hear it, because sometimes they'll get a case and they won't even look at it.
Well, hopefully the Supreme Court does. And that's why elections matter, because we saw what happened with, this year we had the biggest Supreme Court victory in all of our lifetimes, I think. So, there's at least some hope there. I think so.
I think so too.
Abby, what do you think?
I'm a little bit cautious on this one. I know what I would like to see, but I think that we have enough of the conservative judges on the court are not keen to upset the status quo, and we've seen them make decisions to that effect. And this would be one of the biggest status quo upsets ever.
Do you think it would be bigger than the Hobbs decision?
Yeah.
Because that's just kicking it back to the states. So, like, in some way, once it all blows over, people in California eventually are going to realize, oh, it doesn't affect us at all. We've been out here protesting, but we have Gavin Newsom. We're going to like kill babies up to 3 years after they're born. So, like, what difference does that make?
And we have had several generations of fighting to end abortion. And that growing in the minds of people, growing in the public consciousness. We've only had a couple years of really questioning our elections.
Yeah.
2 from our side and 6 if you count the Russian collusion. Yeah, for real.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
well, actually, it goes way back. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, Frank. It goes way back further with the Democrats. They've been doing it forever, and it's fine. They've been doing it since 2000 at least, and it's fine. It's as soon as we start going, hey, something's a little fishy here, which we probably should have been doing earlier. If you look at the counties Obama won in 2008.
True.
But now that we're saying it, it's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, you don't believe in 111% reporting in Philadelphia?
No. For some reason, it just sits wrong with me. I can't put my finger on it, but there's just something about that number that just doesn't sit right with me.
Has there been any strong legal challenge to an election before 2020?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's been elections overturned on very similar basis, chain of custody basis.
Even in Arizona.
Yeah, even in
There
Arizona.
was a
Presidential
case
ones?
where they ruled against the election was done incorrectly, and they gave the election to the guy that lost, or who actually won, but there was stuff that was happened to it. So there was a precedent set in that case. It was like back in 1920 or something like that. It was a long time ago.
I wouldn't be surprised, and I don't even want to like muddy the stream by saying something so negative, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was not corrected in a court and Carrie Lake announced that she is the winner. I wouldn't be surprised if someone tries to take the law into their own hands, because this is kind of seen as like the fool me twice thing. Like, okay, shame on you. You fooled me once in 2020. We weren't watching for it. 2022, they're watching for it. They have pick which one you want. You can go with a number of different examples of how they could catch the fraud. The ballot size, the box 3, all these different ways that they can point to intent and how they couldn't have been a mistake. Those things, and the judge still says no. So either the judge is now the target, or Katie Hobbs would now be a target, or whomever is going to say, what last box do we have? And that's the ammo box.
Yeah. My guess is this ties into a topic I wanted to talk about. The very first conspiracy theory was proven right just recently. It came out with no news whatsoever. The JFK assassination brought to us by the CIA.
Yeah, the catalyst for the creation of and the peddling of the term conspiracy theorist. The reason that they had to push that so hard in the media to make everyone aware of that term and the connotations of it being negative, because they couldn't have you questioning that they killed JFK, and now they did. So internalize that, like the meme says. You now know they wanted you to be thought as the dumb conspiracy theorist because you were right the whole time. And now look at everything else they tell you you're a conspiracist on and go, huh.
Yeah. I can't think of any conspiracies that if you don't wait long enough, they turn out to be true.
PJ and Abby, I'd love to get your guys' take on this, because this is like ground zero conspiracy theory to JFK, and it just came out. Obviously, a lot of people understood that the government was involved, but now it actually comes out and shows that the government was involved, and everyone's silent on it. Nobody's talking. It should be the biggest news story besides the other stuff that happens, but obviously that would place the media in that role of helping the CIA and other government agencies covering up. Correct? Am I off on that?
No, it should be the biggest story of the century, but we've seen these leaks before. There was a leak a few years ago from the CIA internal documents that showed they had something about, JFK's assassination before he was assassinated, and that got overlooked. So this getting overlooked again doesn't surprise me. I do find it hilarious that what Tom just brought up, because in the trailer for Conspiracy Pill, that was the point that I made. There's that conspiracy theorist, the term comes from people trying, the CIA specifically, trying to give a negative connotation to anybody questioning JFK's assassination. So that is where that, like, the word conspiracy theorist existed before, but it never had that push and that connotation. And on top of that, this is the same exact time that Operation Mockingbird is getting exposed and taking place. And what did we see in the Twitter files this week? We saw Operation Mockingbird is alive and well, as I've been saying forever. The fact that, and for people who are not familiar with Operation Mockingbird, that is where the CIA tells the media what they have to push. So the CIA and Homeland Security are literally buying verified Twitter bots and pushing stories through Twitter and through, we've been doing it through news and Hollywood and all that stuff forever, but now they're doing it through Twitter. It's just the digital Mockingbird was exposed. So all of these things, MK Ultra with Kanye West and all these things we were told went away because they changed the names of them are just still there. It's hilarious.
I'll just explain this really quickly. I had made this like 7 months ago and made a stream like, this is what I'm predicting is that eventually we're going to come past and through the midterms where we're going to see openly they're going to steal it. We're going to see openly that they will claim they won and we're going to know they lost in the moment. It's not going to be a whodunit scenario. And we're in this like weird period here in the middle where now they're admitting, oh, we did kill JFK. Oh, now we did do these other things. And they're going to have to kind of come forward and explain. And I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but that's what
I believe you showed that on one of our earlier streams too. Yeah.
Yep. And it's just proving itself more and more accurate every day.
It's a good time to be a conspiracy theorist. I'll just say that.
If only there were like conspiracy crypto that you could like buy into for all your little theories and then be just milking that right now. Like Titanic money, just be, Federal Reserve money. Just
I believe there's one, it's called like FTX or something, but it just
buying into that.
It's really cheap right now, so I'm just buying the shit out of it. So that way.
That and Dogecoin. I'm retiring in Doge.
I worry though that the only reason for them to expose these things now, the only reason for them to let these things come out is to demoralize you, to say,
right,
you knew the whole time and there was nothing you can do and there's still nothing we can do. And now we're just going to rub your face in it.
This is always my big concern with when conspiracy theories get proven true is that on one hand, it's cool and you get you get vindicated. And on the other hand, they're like, we are so in control. We don't care if you know what we're doing. And that's what we've seen. I predicted this before Biden took office. I said, we've seen the slow boil of this oppressive communist state for 100 years. And Biden is that all at once because change happens slowly and then it happens all at once. And I said, when Biden gets into office, it's going to be that all at once phase. And they're just not going to care that that they want you to live in the pod and eat the bugs and, lock you down and all this stuff. And it feels like I still have some hope, but like there is that feeling and that worry that they're so in control of everything that they don't care that they're in control.
Well, or they're not in control, and that's why you're seeing the veil slip, you're seeing the mask fall off, and you're seeing.
Right.
I mean, look, I saw people slide in their cars today on the highway, and that when they're sliding, they don't like let the wheel go. And then they lose the control of the car.
Carrie Underwood
like
does
overcorrect.
that. Carrie Underwood does
that. But you steer into the skid. You see when people start to they grip, they tense up and they grab the wheel. So maybe that's what you're seeing right now. You're seeing them grip and tense up, and they're they put all their eggs into a Joe Biden basket. You have to realize like the CIA ran Biden. They could have picked others. And if they picked Biden to make you like humiliated, it's almost like, hey, maybe they want people to be aware of how bad the situation is. Like the meme is, you don't know, like if only you knew how bad it really was. Like if that's how the CIA feels deep down, like, oh, if only you really knew how bad, then maybe they would want you to see how bad. Put Joe Biden in, make you humiliated, because the next generation will then have to work out of this so that we maybe don't have a 100-year future of humiliation.
Right. I think it could be either one. I'm just saying like the humiliation.
Oh, you sounded ritual. Pretty doomy a minute ago.
No. I said there's hope, but I still think that on the other hand, the humiliation ritual is, Joe Biden is your president and you guys actually believe that. You believe 81 million? Like
they can sell it. Even if no one believed it, we still like swallowed it.
It's the secret cult of the Ray sexuals. Isn't that what you follow there, PJ?
The Raelians?
Raelians. That's what it is.
Ray sexuals?
Rael.
Raelians. I'm on to something with the Raelians, I'm telling you guys.
So is Kanye.
I don't doubt it. Yeah,
he is.
I saw that symbol and that just spoke to me. I was like, man, that really means something to me. I didn't know what it meant at the time, but now I'm drawn to it like a moth to flame.
You guys should have seen me the night that he posted that symbol. I was like, no freaking way.
Called me at like 1 in the morning.
I did. Did that blow your mind? Did you just feel like he just blew the lid off of another big conspiracy for you?
Kind of, yeah. Like no joke. I was making like every podcast for like a month. I was like, guys, I really think I'm onto something with Israelians and this Project Bluebeam stuff. And if I'm right, it's going to come into the mainstream. And then Kanye posts the Raelian symbol on Twitter right before he's kicked off. And it's like the biggest, like every eye in the world was on Kanye for 12 hours. And then he ends it by posting the Raelian symbol. I felt very vindicated and kind of freaked out. It was a weird day.
It's not sun rays, it's mana rays.
And I covered the Raelians as a joke originally, and it was like once I dug into it, I was like, "There's something weird here."
Did you get a bunch of traffic on that video after Kanye
No,
posted
well,
that?
a little, not a lot. It's still not one of our best
need to
videos.
I need to change the thumbnail to that symbol.
I need to, like,
Yeah, and
repost it.
oh no, when I have a thumbnail that is that symbol.
It is
and
that the symbol is on the thumbnail though.
Is it?
It
That
was
is the one
originally.
video on my YouTube that has an active strike on it right now.
Oh, you're naughty.
Abby wanted me to
Talk
take
about-
the symbol off because of that worry, and I didn't. We haven't got a strike, but it got like a little bit more traction for like a day.
Or warning, I'm sorry, not strike. Active
Okay.
warning. That was my
Maybe-
one warning.
Maybe if you titled it "Ray Sexuals," maybe it'll get more traction.
Ray sexuals. I'm just gonna re-upload it. Call it Ray sexuals.
He's
Never know.
funny.
The Kanye revolution.
Kanye and the Ray section.
Kanye and the Ray sexuals. That sounds like a 70s kind of.
It's like-
disco
it's like-
group.
Like
It's
Josie
Ray-
and the Pussycats.
Prince and
Yeah.
what was it? The Revolution.
the artist formerly known
What's
as
his band?
Kanye and the Ray sexuals.
That could be the name of his choir
Yeah.
for his Sunday service. Oh, actually, that should just be called the Yay Sexuals, right? Because his name is Yay now.
Right. Yeah.
Aliens.
He's a
I
Yalian.
Aliens, you guys.
Yalians. Going from Raelians to Yalians.
Aliens.
I'm on top of this, guys. Don't worry.
Next conspiracy pilled.
I'm just gonna quietly post the video that you guys should all totally watch now that we've talked about it. And then you can just click on it and just save it into your like watch later. Because
Don't put it past Kanye. I mean, he did say, he's like, I took the MAGA hat and like made it cool to wear, and I'm gonna take Raelianism and make it Yalianism. Like, I don't tell him that he accidentally fell into that, because he'll take it and run. Maybe he should.
So do you guys think Kanye knew about the Raelians, or he just saw that symbol and liked it?
I don't think he knows about much.
I don't think he knows, to be
Okay.
honest. But Merry Christmas
I
jokes
think
in the
Nick
point.
Fuentes was very convincing in telling
Merry
Kanye
Christmas.
why the Jews were screwing him over. And Kanye was like, they are doing that. And he's like, name all the contract people that you know and all the Jewish lawyers that you know. And then aren't they all Jewish? And Kanye's like, wow, they are. And Nick, so I think Nick like bent Kanye's brain a little bit. And now Kanye just has this like crooked sense of like everyone who's out to get me is Jewish and vice versa. It's like,
Right.
no, there's just a lot of overlap there. There's a lot of overlap, but don't make it your whole life's mission to say one is the other.
What's funny about the Kanye thing is he actually took the symbol and put it into Photoshop as if he created it. And then people were telling me it's not the same symbol. So then I took and placed them over top of each other. And I'm like, it literally like the like width of it, the way that it crosses under and over. I'm like, it is 100% like from Google. If you type in Raelian, it's like the 5th picture. He didn't create that in Photoshop.
You remember that South Park episode of
Yes.
the fish sticks?
Well, yeah, why would we even talk about that? Katie, you were gonna say something that was
Yeah,
more
sorry,
intelligent.
Katie.
I don't rember.
It's my fault.
Oh, I was just gonna say I think Nick was just helping Kanye notice things. He's just noticing now.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Nudising.
Noticing.
Don't notice.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys didn't know, speaking of Jewish people, if you didn't know, the
Speaking of Jewish
FTX.
people?
Oh, excuse me. Excuse
Oh,
me.
you think you know
We either
the
just
Jewish
say
people? Name
it's either
everyone.
just capital J Jews. We either just say how the hard Jew, or menorah worshippers.
The
okay?
FTX dude is out
Cradle
on bail.
spinners.
He's actually out on
Jufro.
bail now.
I
Why
think
am I
his
not
name is
surprised?
officially Jufro.
Sounds
Sam
better than
Bankman-Fried out on bail. Where did he get the bail money? You.
No one knows.
George
You.
No,
Stephanopoulos.
he didn't
all
even,
of you.
From what I understand, though, he did not actually have to pay that bail. Isn't that correct?
He signs
Because
on a
the
line
CIA
saying he
paid
will pay
it was a
it.
signature bail. Yeah, he didn't pay anything.
So
Right,
you can
'cause
rob.
he's got to get out and start hustling some crypto money.
You
make
can
that money.
you can move $10 billion into a hedge fund through a back door, and then after you get caught, move another $140 million into your personal Cayman's bank account and get off on a signature bail. Did I not call this that this guy's not going to pay for his crimes?
No, he's absolutely not.
his 12-year-old, 40-year-old girlfriend, whatever she is, decided to go ahead and
Was that
roll
you,
on it,
Abby?
too.
Was that you, Abby, that said that? Because that was the greatest observation I've ever heard.
I think it was Cody.
Was it Cody that said that Carol, what the hell? Carol Ellison?
Carolyn Ellison.
Yeah, she looks like both 12 and like a 40-year-old smoker at the same time.
Oh.
And it's
I
impressive.
said that in the chat the other day. It's like,
Was it you?
how can you be 12 and 40 at the same time?
Just such a good observation, though. It's meth. That's the answer to it, by the way. She actually tweeted
she looks
out.
like a trailer park kid and the manager at the same time.
Katie just leaves.
And that is a feature, not a bug. Like, we all know Sam likes her because she looks 12.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah. 100%.
Did you see the symbol for his company?
Is it the Radians?
No. It's the I like little girls symbol is the one he wears on his t-shirt in his profile picture.
No.
Not a joke. Yeah,
Dude,
I'll show you.
Is it the
He
pizza?
looks like the
the
cat.
pizza symbol or something.
He looks like the camp counselor who would be thrown out of camp after like being caught way too many times, around the girls in the canoes.
Right. Yeah. So here, let me just share my screen really quick. 1 second.
Come on, PJ.
Well, I didn't have it ready. So
us
right
waiting.
here, you can see this symbol, the heart, the heart that's kind of a swirly. That is the symbol for I like little girls on his t-shirt in his profile picture.
Wait,
So the fact that
it
he takes,
is?
like, yeah, here, I got another one. Hold on.
Wait, the light bulb with the heart in it?
The light bulb is just a slight variation on it. I actually have this saved somewhere where it shows
All
it
right.
next to the real symbol.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to
PJ has
start
all the pedo
Googling
symbols saved on his
symbols
computer.
of
Oh, it's
little girl love. Oh, Lord. Heart,
I deleted it off my computer. That's
light
right. Yeah.
bulb.
That would probably be a good thing.
Like,
if
Probably
you
a
did
good thing. Yeah.
Meaning.
It's not the
heart
light
and
bulb.
The heart and bulb without the bubble could potentially denote. Okay, so don't tell me what it could mean, dummy. Tell me what it does mean. Oh, found it.
All right.
Oh,
So
oh,
here
oh,
we go. See this? This is the heart.
Express
that's
curiosity, love, and ew, gross. Curiosity and love.
Yeah. See how the
It's one of
heart? See how it's a heart that's in a spiral? That is what his thing on his shirt was. So if you go
Yeah.
back,
Oh, okay. Yep.
it's
There
the
it
same
is.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my point. And his girlfriend's symbol for her company is the I like little boys symbol. Not a joke. So
The Alameda, the
Alameda-
spiral.
yeah. How's Alameda Reese? Oops, I can't type today.
Well, okay, how about this? While you're pulling that up, think of this little
That
conspiracy.
one there. Yep.
Are these
Okay.
people not just the new Epsteins? Are they not just the stand-ins for the business? Are they
Oh,
just
That's part of
holding
the
the money box and having the people do the transactions through FTX?
That's part of the conspiracy because there was a guy, another crypto billionaire, who said in the
Like
Bahamas,
Meshuggah, right? His name is like Meshuggah.
it was Nikolai Meshigian, and he in the Bahamas, he said there is another Epstein Island in the Bahamas, and he was another crypto billionaire, and he said for exposing this, they're going to kill me, and he died 4 hours later.
Brilliant cryptocurrency developer Nikolai Meshigian was found dead in the water off of a Puerto Rican beach on October 28th, only hours after he tweeted that he would be tortured and killed by Mossad and CIA for outing that they were trafficking sex trafficking children in the Caribbean islands.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, just weeks before SBF.
I'm sure it's
Is that the
unrelated.
same person that accidentally went swimming with all of their clothes on?
That's
Right.
the same person.
And was not
Okay.
robbed and didn't have anything taken from them, but they
His
said
wallet
it was,
was in his wallet was in his pocket. He was fully clothed,
Insane.
and
That's
they
how-
claimed it was
They had to
robbery.
have his
Now,
ID on him.
When everyone
Yeah.
said, "Oh, Sam Bankman-Fried's been arrested," you think he's going to get got? You think he's going to get Epstein? I was the one saying, "No, he's been insulated. This is him. This is them extracting him." He's like, "Hey, I got to get out of here before it's getting too hot." And so they say, "Hey, that George Stephanopoulos interview didn't serve you like we wanted to in the public. We're going to have to pull him." This is what the CIA does with an asset. They're going to arrest him, then they're going to have him charged, and then he's going to go to Nerf camp prison, and he's not actually going to serve time. They're going to send him upstate with a haircut.
I thought at most they would Epstein him, but I never thought that he would testify or serve any real time. So like
He
I
can
said
go
he was
live
either
in
gonna get
Israel and no one will
completely-
ever recognize him again.
That's true.
I didn't even mean that as a joke. I was just like, that's where he's
I'm
going to go.
just saying.
Mossad is going to pull out one of their assets. He's going to go live in a villa in Israel, and we'll never see him again. And we'll
according
all
to the
believe
guy
he
that
went to
died,
prison.
Yeah.
according to the guy that died, he works with Mossad, so that's not a surprise.
Meanwhile, our government will pass the legislation that he wrote to
Yep.
legislate crypto.
Yep.
Exactly. Just the way they wanted it to do it.
Insane.
That was my favorite thing is like while all these crimes are coming out, like CoinDesk is like saying, well, yeah, I mean, this was written by a crook in order to help his business and the government screw over every other cryptocurrency. But we still need it because look, if we don't have it, we'll have people like SBF, you know, the guy who wrote the bill. He can commit the crimes. It's so insane. And like there was one girl on that CoinDesk podcast that was just getting talked over every time. She's like, guys, that's retarded. And they just kept talking over her. And then they cut the podcast when she started laying out why it was retarded. They just cut it. And I was like, oh, of course. There we go.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're also like him. They just haven't been caught yet.
Right.
Potentially, right? We don't know that they're not. So if they're saying, oh, yeah, we should totally pass these laws that make sure that we're all protected the way that he wanted to be, you have to wonder, you know, who's telling on who. He told on himself. Wait, what was that?
Oh, he told on himself on his space. So, like during this
what
whole
an
time,
idiot! Did you guys
just
hear what he
kept
was saying to them?
admitting to his crimes on Twitter. It was great.
He was on Twitter while they were like, he's being looked at for these. You know, look, we don't know what he. And so people are asking him, like journalists are like, so Sam, would it be fair to say that you have this, and this happening? And he's like, well, we don't even know where that money is. Like, we don't do like daily tracking. And they're like, so do you not fill out these forms? And they're like, that you legally have to. And he's like, I don't even know what that is. We don't even do those. We're in the Caribbean.
Are you kidding me?
No, he did this on Twitter Spaces like multiple days in a row.
Okay.
And then people tweeted like, take his phone away before someone takes his life away.
He obviously doesn't have a lawyer because he just like tweeted these long threads admitting to all of his crimes. And
But
then
it goes
George
to Abby's
Stephanopoulos
point.
is like, well, this was just a lack of oversight, right? Right, SBF? And the guy's like,
Can't you just
well,
agree?
other than the
Wow.
crimes I committed, yeah, it was just a lack of oversight.
He's like,
And
really, it's
everybody's
more like a lack of experience and knowledge and caring. I just didn't care. And he's like, oh God, buddy, I'm helping
That's
you as
against
much
law,
as I can.
buddy. As a person
Abby
who
said though, like this is dangerous if they're allowing you to know it and they don't care to try to hide it.
Right.
If they had the control to hide this and they can't, then that is scary because it's just them being reckless and like with reckless abandon. But if it's just the kid, the third generation dipshit who can't be as clever as the CIA used to be, and now we're just seeing it for what it is, then maybe that's it. The wheels are falling off, and this is the best they got.
Do you know what the number one indicator for me was that he was never going to even see trial? Was
Fair.
that they said not just that Carolyn Ellison snitched on him or whatever she supposedly did. It's that they said John, his other the Asian guy in the chair did, and I'm like, that guy doesn't exist. He literally doesn't exist. No one's ever seen the guy. The only picture of him on the internet is the back of his head. And somehow, while they were making $30,000 a year, they were investing $10 million a day into Bitcoin. And I'm supposed to believe this Asian dude's back of his head guy exists and is going to snitch on SBF. As soon as they said that, I was like, this is total shit. It's like this doesn't happen. The
So
guy
you're
doesn't
referring
even
to,
exist.
is that Gary Wang, the CTO,
Yeah, so I couldn't remember
Chief
his name, Gary
Technology
Wang.
Officer, Gary Wang? That's
No.
supposed to be the name of the other person who
That's right, Gary
snitched
Wang.
with Carolyn Ellison
Yep.
in January of this year. So
I should say there is a
almost
picture of
a
the
full
front of
year
his
ago.
face, but there's only two pictures of him, and one of them is the back of his head, and that's what he uses for all of his profile pictures. And
DOJ and FBI had guilty pleas from Carolyn Ellison and Gary Wang on January 19th. The pleas were entered, 2022, which means they went all year into the midterms, allowing FTX to knowingly rip people off. They knew what they were doing. They'd already pled guilty to fraud. And Carolyn Ellison was facing 110 years in prison. That's why she pled out, and she did so in January. So we're supposed to believe that the FBI didn't want to act on this until after the election for not a political reason. It's a joke.
considering he also doubled his investments into the Democratic Party and after Ukraine started getting that money in March or May. I don't know.
We should be turning, well, not we on this channel, but people ought to be turning these FBI agents into Christmas ornaments themselves.
I mean, I would never say that we should do that out loud. As somebody who runs a true crime channel, going back to him talking about this on Twitter, a lot of things we talk about on Crime Land, which is my other show that we always mention Overruled, but on Crime Land, I make fun of people all the time for recording their own crimes and uploading it to social media. People do this all the time and they're idiots and I laugh at them. So why on earth would he go on a Twitter space and just like, it's just oblivious?
Because he was always an idiot. Like he was just a pawn this entire time. Like the fact that he got $32 billion and didn't even know how to tell about what he couldn't explain cryptocurrency. in
Yeah.
podcasts. Like the guy was just a stand-in for the money laundering that CIA or whatever was doing. So
I mean, I can't explain cryptocurrency, but you wouldn't put
but
me
you
in
don't have
charge of
$32
something
billion
like
either. So
why would you put me in charge of something like that? You would.
And you could also still honestly explain that you don't know it.
Oh, yeah,
Whereas he could dishonestly dance around not knowing.
I shouldn't say that he couldn't explain cryptocurrency. What he did was he explained it too honestly to the point where you're like, this guy is such an idiot. Because what he did is he went on a podcast and he's like, yeah, so if you invest in our cryptocurrency, it's all imaginary and we're kind of just stealing your money and making pretend. And the guy's like, so this is a Ponzi scheme? And he's kind of like, yeah, I guess it kind of is. And then they just moved on. It was really weird. Wow. Just like he explains it as a Ponzi scheme and then just is like, yeah, that's what it is. Like
Sounds
this is
like
a
something
year
I
ago.
should be covering on my channel.
Yeah, right.
I haven't looked at that deeply into it. I mean, I see the headlines.
It's a little hard. Like some of it's a little confusing because I'm not a finance person, and the cryptocurrency still confuses me a bit. But
tens of billions of consumer dollars. This is 38 billion in your and my little crypto investments. 38 billion that he goes evaporate. Oh, it's just gone. And 15 of it was his, and 10 of it we still don't know where it is. Wink, wink. This is why I said, once you start digging into this, you're going to agree with me. You're going to be like, yeah, how many people can we fit into one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like something I need to do a deep dive into. And my actual degree, my college degree is a business. I was a business major, so I might actually understand it if I look into it.
Well, speaking of true crime, I've heard your community is getting a lot of flack for being toxic. And
I agree.
Very
they are
toxic.
toxic. Have you heard Katie already?
Have you met me?
Jack Posobiec tweeted this out. What does it say, Abby?
I told you the true crime community was cancer.
I thought they were Libros.
True crime junkies flocked to Idaho murder house where 4 students were killed. As one woman visiting with her daughter says, it's just more real to see it yourself.
So what is this crime, Katie? What's going on here?
Okay, so this is the Idaho. There's, I think, I don't have notes in front of me, but I believe it was either late October, early November. 4 college students were brutally murdered in their home. They rented a house off campus, and there was 6 people there altogether. 2 of them, if you pull that picture back up, I can kind of explain. This, do you see the way this house is? The 2 very bottom bedrooms are basement bedrooms. And the 2 people that were there were not murdered and didn't hear anything. Upstairs from them was a couple sleeping in a bedroom, and they were both stabbed to death. Apparently it was so bloody that blood was leaking out of the house onto the side of the house. That's how bad the crime scene was. And then up on the 3rd floor, there was 2 girls up there too. There's 2 bedrooms up there. They were both in the same room together. They were calling a boyfriend over and over again. So it's not like they were a couple or anything. They were having girl talk or whatever. But the reason why the 2 in the basement did not hear them is because that house was built in 2 sections. So
it's a duplex then?
No. It's one house, but part of it was built in one period of time, and then there was add-ons. Okay. So there was outside walls inside. So it makes sense that they wouldn't have hurt. Yeah, thicker walls, and they weren't directly above them. So, but what Jack Posobiec is complaining about is people just driving past the house and putting flowers down and offering their respect and things like that, which is not toxic. But what is toxic is there's a lawsuit happening right now because there's a TikToker who's also a tarot card reader. And I don't know if I put an
because
article,
of course she is.
Yeah, I don't have it pulled up, but I put an article in our chat about this woman. Her name's Ashley something, but she read the tarot cards and she decided that there's a teacher, a history teacher. The head of the history department is a woman named something, I don't remember, but this woman is going off on TikTok over and over and over again. Like I'm not a TikTok person. I actually downloaded TikTok. I said I would never do it, but I did just to watch this person's TikTok.
Watch your bank accounts because China's about to sift through them.
I'll still delete it right after I cover this on my channel. But
that'll get your data back.
She read the tarot cards, and there was something about a teacher comes up in the tarot cards, and then something about history. So she went to the website and found the head of the history department, and she's saying that this woman was in a sexual relationship with another student, and she hired the student to go kill these people because she was jealous of the two girls that were on the third floor. It's insane. But this teacher has now sued this TikToker. So that she sent a cease and desist. The woman kept going, and there's a $75,000 lawsuit, I believe it is right now, against this TikToker. So that is very toxic. I think people driving past the house and putting flowers down or lighting a candle, I don't think that's toxic.
To shill for Katie for just a moment. Part of what's so great about your channel is the fact that other true crime people are toxic and terrible, and your channel's like way more honest. No joke. Like, you see the Kim Kardashians of the world who are out there like making it their life mission to free like convict like actual murderers.
Kevin Cooper.
Kevin Cooper is who I was thinking of.
Kevin Cooper.
You know, she's just trying to follow her dad's legacy of like, oh, well, OJ might have his blood and fingerprints all over the crime scene. He ran from the cops with a cut on his arm and a bloody knife in his yard, but the gloves didn't fit because they were wet and soaked with blood. So there he's innocent, right? So, you know, I mean, there is a certain segment of the true crime community that is just absolutely terrible.
Horrible.
Right.
Horrible. I really, though, I think what Jack Posobiec is talking about here is not as bad as it could be. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Like, here's the thing. If I lived in Idaho within a couple hours, I might drive past the house, not gonna lie, because I'm trying to get a picture in my head of what it is that happened, and seeing it with your own eyes, really, it helps.
It's interesting because if you're a journalist, like a real journalist, then nobody questions going to the scene and getting a feel for it. But if you're just like
if you have a true crime channel on YouTube, you're not allowed. Like, come on,
not a real journalist, right? I mean, that's the thing that Elon has rightfully been pointing out is like, you know, you guys aren't special, right? Like, you don't just get to have special privileges on Twitter to dox people because you're quote unquote journalists. And that's the whole thing we've built in our society is if you have some kind of accreditation from some bullshit thing like the Washington Post or the New York Slimes, you're somehow, you know, you're somehow better than everybody else. And I'm glad to see that starting to go away. And I love seeing their power get eked away from them as more people are actually able to put information out there on Twitter and other places. So
speaking of putting information out on Twitter and other places, if you're watching this, make sure that you like the stream on whatever platform you're watching it on, and then like and share the link out to a friend. Go post it on Twitter, go post it on Gab and Truth Social and all the other places, and then jump in the chat and make a friend and say hello.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You can find all of our links at solo.to/Last American Pubcast. And you can also find us over on Twitter at @last_USA Pubcast. Make sure you go follow us on both sites and follow your favorite co-host here because they all have great content on all of their channels.
All I want is to come back for Twitter, or to come back to Twitter for Christmas.
Elon, if you're watching this, let Tom back.
I have to say, America Floats on Rumble is at 3.99K subscribers, and it would be really cool if we could get Tom to 4K.
Oh yeah, that would be nice.
Tom in 4K, that's a lot. I don't think we could handle Tom in 4K.
Busted in 4K.
It's like when you finally got like high definition television and all of the anchors on the network started to look really shitty. Like all of a sudden.
You realize how old that weather lady was that you thought was actually pretty good looking?
Like, oh,
I remember when we first got our 1080, progression television, this was, I don't know, 2012. And turning TV on and seeing these people, my wife, we were watching something. She's like, why does this look like a soap opera? I was like, I don't know. I said, it just looks really weird. It goes from the, our old digital to the 1080p.
It's so true because when Blu-ray came out, they tried to like make older movies Blu-ray, and then I remember watching when I was like, "This looks like a Lifetime television movie now." Like somehow it took away the movie magic, and it just made it look like someone filmed this with like their VHS camcorder from their local AV club in their high school or something. It made movies look worse somehow. I don't know, it's weird. They've got like figured it out now.
Or made you see what movies used to be.
Yeah.
Also, though, I would give that the film they used to shoot older movies on, and the screens that you would watch those movies on had a better, I'm not the tech guy that would be able to explain exactly why it is, but like the blur is more blended.
It's like
So
what it is,
you
is it would-
see a better image because you're not like the pixels actually are like. I don't. You're gonna explain it better. Go ahead.
Well, what it was is that it would focus on certain areas, and then as soon as like that like blurry edges went away and your eyes were able to see everything clearly, it just looked weird.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like instead of like you seeing the person in focus and the background and the things around them being a little bit less focused, so it kind of made them stick out from the background. It just made it all like a picture, and it looked different. I don't know.
Well, it's
Maybe
the
I'm
same
not
reason that like
you're explaining, but
it possibly it's probably the same phenomenon. The same reason that your old video games looked better on an old TV than they do on the newer TVs, because the old TV had a look to it that they knew to program the image to be refracted through that glass with those 3 little diodes in each pixel. So they knew, hey, it doesn't have to be completely crystal clear because it's going to look better as things are moving on the screen because of that glass. Now it's all LCD, so it's exact. And you can see every little finite point in the movement. And so it's like, it's jarring to your eye.
I've tested that out, and you're right. Old video games on new screens look terrible.
They do.
They're like, they hurt your head to play.
Mario, it's like all blurry. And you're like, whoa, hang on a
terrible.
second. He's moving too fast versus on the older screens. It's a little.
Yeah.
It's like, do I got to drop some acid to actually play this game now?
Yes, you should do that, Frank.
I mean, you don't have to, but makes it more fun. You're like,
I didn't
wait,
remember there
Mario's
being
eating these
dragons in
mushrooms, and
Animal
it makes
Crossing.
sense.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of dragons and stuff like that, have any of you guys watched a new Avatar movie, Avatar 2?
Hell no.
Isn't that like 5 hours long or something?
I don't know.
Can I ask?
Has
Very
anybody watched the
honestly,
first one? Let me ask this. Has anybody watched the first one before?
that's what I was gonna say. Did anybody
Yes.
like the first one?
Hey,
I never
you know
watched the
what?
first one.
Even if you've watched it, do
Guilty
you
pleasure
remember
movie.
it? Do you remember the plot? Do you remember the characters? Why would they
Well,
come out with a sequel 18
I just
years
rewatched
later?
So I remember the plot because I've seen Pocahontas. Do I remember the movie itself? No. Do I
Space
remember
Pocahontas.
3-hour-long space Pocahontas with weird hair sex? Yes, I remember. Like I remember that about it, but it was
What?
their
I
hair,
remember
their braids. They have babies that way. You know,
Ew.
that's the only thing. You guys don't remember this?
It
From
wasn't
what?
babies.
That's how they have sex. They call it coupling. Whatever. They take their hair braids and they
But
stick
it wasn't
them together.
sex though,
like
because that's how they
sockets.
rode like their horses and stuff too. They connected the horse
Well,
to
maybe
the
they were into
dragon, and then they
bestiality.
could.
Yeah, maybe they're
Bestiality.
like
They were
Hank
sharing a.
Uger.
No, there was still a blood-brain
Were they
barrier
aliens
there.
too? PJ.
What? Cenk Uyghur like to
Yeah,
Avatar
you
for
can
a
do
lot
it
of
to the
reasons.
dragon. The dragon can't do it to you. That's what he.
I remember it was like a big deal back in the day when smartphones first came out. Yes, this is how old I am, but it was like the Galaxy S2 or something.
We know how old you are, Katie said.
I know, ask Mr. Z. But like the
Robbie the
Galaxy
cradle over there.
S2 or S3, this big selling point of it was that Avatar came loaded on.
I remember that.
Yeah, I had that phone.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I hated Avatar. I really did. And I wanted to like it because everybody was like, oh, look how pretty it is. And then I watched it like, this is 3-hour-long space Pocahontas and less interesting than the original Disney cartoon somehow. Like
I'm
it
gonna
was
see what the
pretty, but I
runtime is.
couldn't stand it. I never understood the desire for a sequel. So I have
Wait,
not seen it.
I was just mad they didn't have the Colors of the Wind remade because that was
At
such a
least
good
that
song.
would have made it better, right?
There's no cool hummingbird to be his best friend. That was also a bummer.
Mhm.
It's
Abby?
2 hours and 41 minutes long.
Okay,
Abby,
but
have
the
you
credits
watched
are about
the
15
new
minutes of that.
Avatar movie.
No, but I intend to.
Have you watched the first
Why?
one?
Me too.
Yes.
Did you enjoy it?
I had mixed feelings. Visually, it was incredible, but so,
Do you remember the plot?
I do. Do you need a synopsis?
Yes.
Yeah, go watch Pocahontas. It's shorter, more interesting, and same plot.
It's basic. Yeah, it's Pocahontas.
Like it was
Yeah.
a visually stunning movie, but the story was contrite and needed work and was dumb. And I would say that contrived rather, or trite,
Contrived,
but
yeah,
not
yeah.
contrite. It was not sorry. It should be though. And maybe just watching that makes me think like they needed a sequel because they had already budgeted for it. They sold on it. James Cameron said there's going to be a third and fourth. They've already filmed scenes for them. So like they're into this
They
$8
also
billion vehicle.
They also
Yeah.
said that when the first one came out in 2009 that there was going to be a second one, and
Only took 13
And there
years.
is.
yeah.
Well, My favorite part of this story is that James Cameron has to come out. He's like, hey, you know how I used to make Terminator 2 and stuff like that you liked, and then I decided to make a bunch of crap movies for like 2 decades. Yeah, a bunch of trash like Titanic and Avatar and other movies nobody actually
didn't
liked.
like Titanic?
You didn't like Titanic?
No.
Really,
What?
PJ?
Why?
There was
What?
room on the door for Jack.
Because the best part of the Titanic,
There was room
the
on
best
that
part of the
Shea
Titanic
lounge for
is
Jack.
the iceberg hitting the Titanic, and yet all you get is steamy back car scenes of Leonardo DiCaprio and a very unattractive woman that I can't remember the name of.
Kate,
Wasn't she like
Okay.
way
Winslet.
older
Like,
than Leo?
Winslet, get out.
I
Wasn't
don't.
Winslet way older than Leo in that movie?
I don't know. Who
Good
cares?
for him.
I'm just saying. I don't know.
And he never got
Well,
past it.
isn't Katie way
I
older
was
than her
just gonna-
husband?
I was just gonna say, Mr. Zed does not have a problem with older.
Honestly, I would find it hard to find an unattractive Kate who's successful in Hollywood. Like Kate Blanchett, hot. Kate Winslet, hot. I don't
We
think
have
you're
a
going to
very
find an
different
ugly
taste
one.
in women. That's all. I think Kate Blanchett looks like a plank of wood. But that's
Dude,
just me.
go look at
Speaking-
Galadriel with those starry eyes, and you tell me that again.
Yeah, speaking of planks of wood, I agree with Tom. There was plenty of room for Jack to be on there. There was no reason for her to let him go underneath the water. I'm just
Oh,
saying.
He
you misheard
wanted
me.
to.
You
They
agreed with
could
Katie.
have-
I said something different.
They could have cuddled and kept each other warm on top of that plank. Instead,
Yeah.
she let Jack die.
I don't
My
know about
point-
the door, but I think there was room for him on the Shays Lounge, is what I said.
Yeah, for sure. We got off my point though, is that James Cameron comes out and he starts making all these claims like masculinity is toxic when you get rid of it, and he's trying to go as woke as possible, as if Avatar 1 wasn't as woke as possible, and now the woke crowd is canceling Avatar 2. Like the conservative crowd is like, I didn't like the first one, and the woke crowd is going out there saying, well, this is blueface. Have you seen that? They're actually
Yes.
calling it
Yes.
blueface.
Yeah.
Like you
It
guys
is.
are
Apparently,
alien.
white people can't play aliens now because
They also
that's
say that the
cultural
braids are
appropriation.
racist. Yeah, you can't have a braid because that must mean that you're trying to be like a Native American tribe.
Yeah, 'cause
Because
CGI
no one else has ever braided their hair before.
Because Vikings didn't braid their hair.
Yeah. As a person of German descent, I mean,
Same.
yeah, just
Yeah.
like we would have the braids on either side, you know.
Like a St. Pauli's girl.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
you like a beer maiden?
Yes, a beer maiden.
Don't you kind of feel like being disrespected in this way? Like white culture's been completely overlooked.
I feel.
They're
I
just
mean,
like, these are all natives, and you should look at these mud huts and worship them. And I'm like, no, they're just trying to emulate what we did better hundreds of years before.
yeah. I mean, I think anybody who's wearing braids today is culturally appropriating my culture
That's right.
of beer maidens.
Well, I just want to say, like,
a fair lass for the mug.
until the Martians come out and tell us that we've appropriated their culture, I'm not going to have that much of a problem with white people playing aliens. Like,
Yeah.
maybe they have. Maybe the CIA knows more than we do, or
Maybe.
NASA, or
Nah, they're probably not aware of more than we are.
something. No.
But
Moon
Abby
landing was fake.
Abby wanted to point out that we have a super chat over on Rumble from Blasian Babies 2020 saying it's over for the deep state. No one believes them. They're naked emperors. Governor Carrie Lake won. That means President Donald Trump won. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Cheers.
Merry Christmas and cheers.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
And thank you. And again, another reminder to like the stream and share a link to it and then jump in the chat. And then a super chat. We'll answer all of those at the end.
Yeah, make some friends inside the chat. There are a lot of great people in there.
And don't forget to sub to my channel too. I need 92
Shameless plug.
more
Shameless
subs
plug.
to
And,
reach my goal.
Mr.
Great.
Z771, we need to come up with more Kates. So keep thinking.
We have our very own Kate here on the Pubcast. Look at that.
Yes.
True.
Except
you-
my name is
would you
Kate.
have
I
made
know.
room
I
for
was
Jack
hoping that
on
he
your
would come up
board?
with that one, but he's just like, I got
Catherine
Beckinsale.
now.
That's one.
Since you corrected him, it's Catherine now.
Oh,
Can't go
Keurig.
thank you.
Katie Couric used to be kind of a pretty lady.
Katie Couric. Yeah,
Kidding.
she was an NBC host. wasn't she?
Oh yeah.
She interviewed Lil Wayne. She went to the bowling alley with him.
Yeah, I mean, I never really thought she was attractive. She always had like kind of a lesbian haircut.
Oh, of course she was. That's how she got along with Matt Lauer.
that was the feminist haircut.
We're Abby and I are braiding. We're,
He was
Just
like-
noticed. That
we're
was the look.
actively culturally appropriating right
Can
now.
I can probably get in.
Abby still hasn't done blackface, and she promised us blackface like months ago.
Did
so,
I?
Yeah. I'm
Did I?
still
Okay,
kinda
my
disappointed.
freshman year of
But
college
did
was
I
like
know?
2011.
Maybe
2011, I was a
Blueface,
freshman
Abby.
at state. There were girls in sororities who went as Lil Wayne and Lil Jon, and they both did blackface. And this is only like a decade ago.
Canceled. canceled.
Well,
I mean,
Abby
I
should
know
do
people that
Blueface.
did blackface a couple of months ago. So.
I was
So it's
was
not that
there.
big a deal.
PJ
I was there. Yeah, I was there.
well, speaking of black people, a new report had come out telling us that appropriating or forcing our diet fads onto black culture is racist.
Yeah.
Abby, do you have that story?
I do. The racist
Sandra
roots.
Bernhard.
This is in the Scientific American. The racist roots of fighting obesity. Prescribing weight loss to black women ignores barriers to their health.
What's their argument here? Like,
Yeah,
it's
I'm like,
so
where are we
stupid
going
on
with
its
this?
face. I just like my favorite part of these articles. You finally read down through all of their diatribe of bullshit, and you finally get to the point. And it'll say something. I guarantee it'll say something like, "Well, black people in the 1950s were barred from having any type of ice cream except for vanilla or what was it? Shoot, I remember this article from a few months ago. It was
Rocky Road?
butter pecan. I remember being told that butter pecan was racist ice cream because one county in Georgia in the 1950s only let black people have butter pecan or something like
That was
that.
the only one
Lie. That can't be real.
Well, and
That
it's
cannot
butter
be a thing.
pecan.
Y'all can't have
Not
any
butter
of this
pecan.
vanilla bean. Y'all can only have
Butter pecan.
butter
As if-
pecan.
As if
What it-
people don't like butter pecan. It's good.
What it comes down to is they're like, black women are more fat than white women and they can't help it because reasons. So stop telling them to lose weight because we
No,
want
I-
them to
They
die
think,
young.
hey, if
that goes
black
against-
women are more unhealthy, that means it must be racist and not
I
black
think
people
it
need to start eating better.
must be
Hey,
the
I
fried
watched
chicken.
A Woman King. They were all thin. I didn't see one plumpy. I did not see one plumpy
Merry
black woman
Christmas.
on there.
Wait. Hold on. What did Katie say? What did I miss?
Nothing. She.
Okay. Well, I mean, look, if it has to be true because the
Kool-Aid
greatest
has a lot of sugar in it,
It does have a lot of sugar in it, and fried chicken has a lot of fat.
It's
and
true.
watermelons all tons of natural sugar and a lot of
water.
other
Delicious.
cornbread,
By the way,
other
all
stereotypical
of these
black
things
foods.
are delicious, and I eat them all the time. And I'm not skinny, but I'm not fat either. So
That's
This is
because
something
you're
that black
white
people
and
say too. They're like, "Oh, we have the
culturally
sugar." They call it the sugar.
The sugar.
It's like the
I
diabetes.
think it's
They-
racist to
You
not
could-
let us have all the good foods like, country fried steak and deep fried chicken and watermelon and stuff like that.
I tried to
collard
make country
greens.
fried steak. I
Yeah.
completely failed at it.
you can make Kool-Aid with Splenda. It's not against the law.
Well, look,
Should
we
be.
know
I
we know
need a
this
pound of
article's
sugar in my sweet tea.
we know this article's onto something because the greatest personal trainer of all time that's been featured on ABC and NBC and all
Lizzo?
these things,
So true.
he is the personal trainer of Lizzo. So if he can't get Lizzo to be less than Earth 2.0, then I don't know.
Stacey Abrams is president of.
I mean, she has a.
And why
She
is it
is
that Lizzo plays a
anorexic,
flute?
so-
Shouldn't she be playing like a tuba or a baritone? It just doesn't seem like she should be playing the dainty.
Well, she can't
like,
play
what's
the-
worse,
the
a
tube-
piccolo?
What's
Could-
the one that has to wrap around you? She could
Could
not
we
play
do
that.
what?
Sousaphone.
Can we get Stewie Griffin to follow behind her with a tuba? Have you watched that episode?
The trombone.
Stacey
Trombone,
Abrams couldn't
that's
get a
what it
tuba
is.
around her. Or sorry, Stacey Abrams, Lizzo, same person. Lizzo
They
couldn't get
are.
a tuba around her arm, so I don't think the tuba's.
I've never
in-
seen them
yeah.
together in the same place, so they might be the same
I
person.
haven't either.
That's
You
also
know-
a trick, though. She can't get anything around her arms. So
Well,
I genuinely feel so bad for her because earlier this year or last year, she tried to do something for her health. She went on like a juice cleanse or something. She posted about it. She said she felt really good, and then her fans came for her. Like they were
Really?
so angry that she
probably
did something.
probably the first time anyone's ever done that.
They were so
Wow.
angry that she did something for her health, and she went out and apologized profusely to them for doing this. So,
That reminds me of them coming for Adele when she lost weight. Remember?
yep,
speaking of fat people,
Easier to do though once they've lost weight.
yeah, you kind of have to go and hide while you lose weight. Like
They
I can
did
see the position she's in because she's built her whole brand around being fat, so now she can't change it.
I mean,
they did this to Adele, and they
Easier
did
to
this.
see what position she's in now that she's lost weight.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Katie.
they might be onto something because obviously she's anorexic and still fat. So this article might be onto something. It
No,
might be
no.
racist.
You're thinking of Tess Holiday. Tess Holiday's the one that came out and said she was
Sorry,
anorexic.
Wrong.
Yeah, do you
fat
guys remember that
person.
story from earlier this year? Tess Holiday came out in tears talking about how she was anorexic, and I'm like,
As she's stuffing
where-
cheeseburgers
yeah,
in
like,
her mouth.
do you need to find a dictionary? Because I don't think you know what that word means.
Are you guys familiar with the 1,000-pound sisters?
No.
Yes,
There's
unfortunately.
like the one who's 600 pounds, the other one who is 400. One of them is
Mhm.
Tammy, and the other one's is another Amy. My wife watches these women, And so
Ugh.
if I
Is it on
sound
like TLC or something?
if the people listening or
think
watching
so.
at home think that I sound coarse or unforgiving to the fatties, it's because when you watch a few tens of hours of the people talk about their sodies and their eyes that don't go straight because they're wall-eyed because they're so fat that their head is expanded and the forehead is taken on a Fetterman-esque kind of a globular thing because it's just fat. You realize like, okay, some people just have a problem. They actually need the help and you can't feel bad for them because they do it to themselves knowingly.
But here's the thing too, is that nobody ever gave a crap about fat people being fat before they started pushing it down
I did.
everybody's throat as in fat. Well, you know what I mean? Like for the most part, you just were like kind of try to be nice as far as like,
Yeah.
okay, you're obese, whatever. That's
You
your
got
choice.
thyroid problem,
And now
you know.
it's you have to worship people for being obese. And that's the problem that everybody has because that's Lizzo's entire brand,
Mhm.
right? Lizzo's entire brand is I'm not only massively obese, but you have to tell me I'm beautiful because of it. And that's where people just draw a line. It's ridiculous. So
What?
like it's hard to feel bad for these people that who have pushed on their entire audience. Hey, congenital heart failure is wonderful and great. And if you don't accept this and tell me I'm beautiful because of it, then you're a bigot. You're terrible. Like they're attacking people that never even came after them.
They think
people
they're
who
all
are just willing to
cherubic.
look the other way and be like, look, look the other way is hard with Lizzo because you got to turn all the way around. But you know what I mean? They were able to look the other way and just be like,
Gotta do it
okay, whatever, I
twice.
don't care.
Uh,
You gotta do it
But
twice.
that's what it is.
She's in your peripheral visions on both sides.
Even when you turn all the way around, it's
Well, it
really
reminds
difficult.
me of
Shut one eye.
one of my favorite actors, Brendan Fraser.
I love
his
Brendan
new movie,
Fraser. Yeah.
The Whale, which is it's coming out, and it's
Is
about
that a fat suit or did he?
It is
blow
a
up?
fat suit
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm like, man, he used to be hot.
because the left has a problem with this too. Yeah,
Yeah.
they have a problem.
And
with this
I heard
too.
this is a great movie. It was a Broadway play. It was written for a Broadway play, and they translated it into a movie. And from what I've read and watched reviews on, it's like amazing. Brendan Fraser's really has taken his acting even further, deeper than you thought he could. And it's
Wait,
about
further than George of the Jungle?
I think Brendan Fraser
That is
always
a hard
been
bar to pass. Though.
I like.
I've
Brendan.
always thought he was a
I love
talented
him.
actor. Have you
Me
watched
too.
it? Did you ever watch him on Bedazzled? That guy had played, I
Yes.
think, 7 different characters.
It was
in that
7, and
thing.
he was great in Bedazzled. That was a
Yeah.
great movie.
My favorite scene was with the sunset.
Yes. I also kind of liked him as the Colombian drug lord. That part was
Oh,
pretty
that
great
was
too.
good. I can speak
Yeah.
Spanish. Español.
I was so excited to see Brendan Fraser return. I've been a huge fan of his ever since I was a kid. Like Tom said, George of the Jungle was one of my favorites when I was like 6 years old.
Encino Man?
Yeah, Encino Man, Dudley Do Right.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Even the Looney Tunes movie was great. Like he's
Lord of
just
the Rings was in that.
Lord of the Rings was in that.
And wasn't
Lord of the Rings is a
Sean Austin? Sean Austin was in in,
Sean Astin?
Astin, yes. Sean Astin.
So Samwise
Don't
Gamgee
get Cam
from the Lord
started
of the
on Sean
Rings.
Astin, yeah.
Lord of the Rings was in that. You know the guy that played not him, but the other one.
He played
You know,
the
Gandalf.
Lord,
Gandalf was
the
in there.
ring. The
He was
the
one of
ring
the older
lord.
people, not the tall guy.
Yeah, he was an orc. He came out.
He
of the
was an
ground.
orc.
So is this whale movie is about him being fat or what?
Well, yeah, it's
what's
him
the premise?
trying to rekindle his relationship with his daughter because of his obesity and the way he's let himself go, and it follows his this journey that he's on in order to try to repair those relationships with his family and his friends and things like that. And it's really good. From what I've heard, it's a really good movie. So
and the
I'm willing
fatties
to-
have a problem with it because losing weight is
They,
No,
racist?
they
they
have
got
a
a problem
problem with
with
it
him.
because he's not fat.
right.
Oh,
He took the job away from a real 600-pound person.
I would assume
Well,
that this
Ralphie
movie is
May
about a
didn't
weight
make
loss journey. So he has to were they going to make a fat person actually lose weight?
I don't know if
play
he
it?
actually loses
That
weight
would
in the
also be
movie,
bigoted.
but like
Yeah.
the point they were trying to make is they said it's fat appropriation or some bullshit. It's always appropriation, right?
Well-
So the point is with acting now, you're not allowed to act. You have to be the person. You actually have to be a blue alien to play in a
Unless
movie set
it's
in a
Hamilton.
exactly right?
Right.
Then it's totally fine.
Yeah,
But you
the
actually
mermaid.
have to be a blue alien. If you're this was the dumbest one, but you guys remember Scarlett Johansson was going to play a woman who transitioned to a man, and she couldn't
But she's not
possibly play a
trans enough.
woman. She couldn't possibly play a woman who dresses like a man because she is a woman who would have then been dressed like a man in the
Yeah.
movie. She couldn't do that because she wasn't actually mentally ill, so she couldn't do that. Brendan Fraser couldn't do this because he's not actually 600 pounds.
Also, probably
So-
mentally ill.
Zoe Saldana can't be
doesn't
blue
that make
because
you
she's not
mad?
actually blue.
Glenn Close, the lady, performed as one of the best presidents I think we've seen, like in a movie. She
Right.
played a president and did it better than a lot
What
of
movie
men
was
have
that?
ever. I don't know. That's why I wouldn't.
She also played
But
a male
the-
pirate in Hook.
That's it. Yeah, and Glenn
Oh!
Close was the male pirate in Hook. So
I
she's
when I
she's
found
done
that
it
out-
over and over and over again. And now, we're not allowed to do that.
When I found out that was Glenn Close, my mind was blown. I love Hook. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And the guy that gets put in the boo box is Glenn Close.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I don't know. That's some of the greatest acting of all time right there. Gotta give it
Just
to
while we're on the Hook and Peter Pan thing, I thought it would be fun for people to learn too. If you didn't know, it's one of the the things of the stage is that the dad in Peter Pan also plays Hook, the Captain Hook. So the bad guy for the kids in the beginning of the play is the same actor on the
Yeah.
stage who then is also the person who plays Captain Hook. And
Shmi
in the
plays the
movie, it's the
pilot.
same.
Schmeat plays the pilot too.
Right.
Bob Hoskins. Yeah. It's a good movie.
Yeah, and speaking of movies,
All
I
right, roll Hook. Let's just watch that for the rest of the night.
Movie night.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
We should do that. We should just have one where we don't even do we don't talk. We just watch a movie on the side.
like
right
a
here.
Mystery 3000.
Bingo.
I like it. Yeah.
It's hard for me not to talk during a movie.
Well, yeah, we'd have to be. We would just be talking over it.
Yeah.
Not me.
I have to ask questions. I'm a woman. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, who is that? What are they doing?
Yeah.
I'm like,
We
I
are
don't
watching
know.
the
I
same
just
movie. I
started
don't
watching
know.
with you.
They're gonna explain it. They're gonna explain it. They're gonna explain it. Yeah. Don't watch Memento with your husband. He'll probably blow his brains out. Have you ever seen Memento?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
You can mention
Dark
it.
CEO. Yes, like Robin Williams' Hook. That Hook.
Yes.
Yeah. Great
So-
movie.
Yeah. Speaking of movies, what's your guys' all-time favorite Christmas movie? Since we are just an hour away from Christmas,
So
Die
I almost wore this shirt tonight.
which
It says
was
I have a machine gun. Ho ho
Oh,
ho.
I have a machine gun. Ho,
We just
ho,
came from a
ho.
Christmas party, my family Christmas party, and Mr. Zed was wearing a T-shirt that said "Yippee Ki
But I tell you guys what though, I have learned from Trump over the years, and the one thing that we should all learn from Trump, because the left seems to have learned this more than we have, is the oversell. The left will push something so insanely absurd that you will take the halfway measure and you'll keep doing it forever and ever. That's how the left has worked for 100 years. But yet Trump writes the art of the deal, writes the end of the art of the deal. Nobody takes it. So here's my pitch. Lethal Weapon is also a Christmas movie, and we can't get people to accept Die Hard as a Christmas movie. So we should just start pushing Lethal Weapon, and then eventually they'll be like, well, okay, I guess Die Hard is, but maybe not Lethal Weapon, right? So Lethal
Interesting.
Weapon might be my favorite Christmas movie, and that way we can get Die Hard accepted and played on the Christmas movie channel.
Gremlins.
I like
Gremlins
the
is
way
a
you're
Christmas
thinking
movie.
here, PJ.
Gremlins is another great Christmas movie. I also
And-
watched Santa Jaws this week, so not a joke. I actually watched that.
Jumanji too.
Jumanji 2? I haven't seen
Yep.
Jumanji 2.
Near have I.
It's a Christmas movie?
It's a Christmas movie.
Oh, that's a great one. Chevy Chase, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
That's
That
like
is
the
a-
quintessential Christmas movie that you think of as that I think of. as
Home
the-
Alone is one of my favorites.
It's
I
not even my
watched-
favorite, but it is the.
Home Alone or Home Alone 2?
I prefer the first.
I think the
But-
first Home Alone, but they're both good. I would say Christmas Vacation's a yearly watch for me. I have to watch that every Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the
That
intro. They're
and-
singing in the car.
What's
Yeah.
what's the Christmas Story? Is that the one with the leg lamp?
Yeah.
That one I watch every year as well.
I watched that 2
Home
days
Alone
ago.
also has a leg lamp. I'm pretty sure. At one point, I'm pretty
Does it?
sure. Yeah, it's like a shadow that's in the whatever. He uses a leg lamp. It's like
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Abby, what's your favorite Christmas movie?
I really like Die Hard.
Mm.
I really like The Holiday for rom-coms. And Wonderful Life, White Christmas
That is-
for the old
yeah.
classics.
Yeah.
It's a Wonderful Life is great. Do you like Miracle on 34th Street? That's my sister's favorite. I'm not a big
Yeah,
fan,
that
but she
one's
loved
good.
it.
It's been a long time since I've seen that.
I put the Grinch up here. There's a couple of iterations of the Grinch. Is there one that you guys like over the other?
That's what I want to know. What's everybody's favorite Grinch?
They're so different.
I like the cartoon version from like the 70s, whatever
Me
that
too.
one is.
if it's a Christmas morning movie, it has to be the cartoon from the 70s. If it's a Christmas Eve evening and we want to all laugh, it's got to be the Jim Carrey one.
Okay.
I don't hate the Jim Carrey one, but I think the cartoon one is so much better. And
Yeah.
like the Jim Carrey one's just really passable for me. I'll watch it if it's on.
Have you seen the
I love
one that
Jim
came
Carrey,
out
but
back in like?
it's okay.
Have you watched the one that came out in 2018? It's the
With Benedict Cumberbatch.
Right, that one's actually pretty good.
I haven't watched it, but my kids like it.
Yeah, that one's actually pretty good. My oldest daughter likes that one.
You know, it's a good Christmas movie that's kind of newer is Office Christmas Party. If you like a comedy, not for the kids though, for the adults, it's hilarious.
My brother likes it. I haven't seen it yet.
It's so good. You need to watch that.
Harry Potter is considered a Christmas movie in my household. We watch it every year. We watch every
the
single
first
one
Harry Potter.
All of them. We watch all of them.
Oh.
It's a tradition in our household for the longest time. But yeah,
do you play foosball? I keep wanting to say foosball. Do you play lacrosse? Do you play lacrosse in your backyard with brooms?
Oh, we're not that crazy.
Okay.
We're not mad at J.K. Rowling for creating women's spaces.
I've seen all the Harry Potter movies. I never got that into them. They're not bad. Like for me, it's the Harry Potter fan base that drives me nuts. So I will just forever rail on how much I hate Harry Potter just to piss them off. But I don't actually hate them that much. They're not bad.
What about the Polar Express?
I hate that movie. Does anybody else hate it, or is it just me?
I don't
Their
like
eyes
it.
creep me out.
The uncanny valley is tough. If you kind of make a conscious decision to get past that, I really like the music and the feel of it. I loved the book before the movie ever came out, so I always loved the bones of the story.
What's the uncanny
I don't
valley?
like the symbolism of it, which is that Tom Hanks was on a train with a bunch of kids.
Oh man, now I can never watch it again.
What's the
uncanny valley is that spot in the brain that is you recognize human faces versus anything that is not human. So when you see something like a robot that's been given a human face, you know it was not a real human. You know it's just emulating.
Because every time I hear Uncanny Valley, I just think of the video game that I've never played. But I know it's a video game, and that's the only like reference I have to it. So is that part of Polar Express you're talking about?
Well, when you watch Polar Express, you see their faces, and you're like, oh, that's not a real. Like they look too close to trying to be real humans, but they're not.
It's like where CGI, like cartoon animation CGI, was like just not quite there because they have dead eyes. So it feels like watching mannequins in a play for 2 hours, and I can't watch it. So I have no idea if I even like the story of Polar Express. I watched it once and it creeped me out.
I agree with PJ
that might be a vestigial kind of like a response to seeing those things, though, just to finish the thought on Uncanny Valley, because there has to be some kind of a reason, evolutionarily or otherwise, that we would have a part of the brain that triggers an alert response when we see something that isn't quite human. Like what in the past tried to be human but wasn't, that we had to be aware of.
Yeah. What do you guys think of Bill Murray's Scrooged? Because I watched it again the other day because I hadn't seen it since I was a kid, and I really like it. But
I enjoyed it.
A lot of people are telling me that if you watch it now, it's not good anymore, and I thought it was great still.
I think the same way like the Polar Express creeps you out. Those Coca-Cola Christmas bears when I was a kid always creep me out too. Because they move and like it just they really creeped me out. I hate those bears.
I always feel like it to me it's like a nostalgic throwback when I see them. I'm like, it reminds me of my childhood. So I don't feel the same way.
Hey, we have a big super chat over on Rumble. We need to say a big old thank you to Salty Ken. Salty Ken sent a bomb saying, "Get hammered, not like Paul Pelosi."
Salty Ken, thank you.
Salty Ken, thank you, Salty Ken.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
You know what was good this year is Lindsay Lohan's comeback movie, Falling for Christmas.
It was so good.
You watched it?
Yeah, on Abby's recommendation. My wife and I watched it. It was so good.
It was like every Hallmark movie ever.
It was a Hallmark movie, and you could predict it the entire way through, and it was great, and I loved it.
It was perfect. Yep.
And it didn't have some trans-binary message in it.
So
and
is it
actually,
on Hallmark?
It did kind of have like a gayness at the end, but it was mocking it, which I liked.
Yeah.
So is it on Hallmark, Abby?
Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
Netflix?
Oh, maybe me and my wife will take that in tomorrow.
There's a very effeminate male, and then eventually he's like he does the wrist turn, and you're like, yeah, we knew that was coming.
It was one of those.
Really? Oh, go ahead.
You know, Hallmark movies, they do all the tropes, but they take themselves seriously. And this one did all the tropes, but it did it to mock them all, and it was just delightful.
All right, Mr. Zed, you hear that? We're watching a Lindsay Lohan
Abby,
movie tomorrow.
how fun was that when it was like it was showing you the montage of all the things they did that day, but it was like things you could not possibly have all done in one day.
It was great.
Don't spoil it
Nope.
for me.
That isn't. I didn't give you all the examples.
There's a
I'm just giving you
montage of
another
the
reason to
Hallmark
watch.
movie, guys.
Can I share something with you guys really quick
No.
before we move on? Because the Hallmark movie thing is hilarious. I brought this up to Abby the other day and she's never seen it. There's a guy on TikTok that does like, this is what all Hallmark movies are like. And he's made his channel out of this over like years. And it's like every single one he does is this is what Hallmark movies are like. I just got to show this. Let me know if you can hear it, if I have to change something.
First day of fall, you know what that means? Oh no. So
You hear
this
that?
woman is a private equity agent in the big city. Okay. And her boss asked her to visit a cider mill upstate so her company can buy and flip it. Work travel. She's always been a city girl and does not want to spend the weekend around mud and dirt. I hope she brings the proper footwear. But then she arrives and sees the owner chopping wood. Uh-oh. He's 6'4" and wears perfectly fitting jeans and works in the orchard all day so his forearms are bulging. And she slips in the mud, so they have to go inside to get her cleaned up, and they have immediate chemistry. Thank you, bad footwear. And her rental car is also stuck in the mud, so he offers for her to stay in the guest suite for the night. Thank you, two-wheel drive. And they stay up all night drinking cider and laughing. Yes! And they fall in love. There's no way anything can go wrong. And while they're chatting, he reveals that it was always his mom's dream to run a cider mill, but she died before it could happen, so he keeps her dream alive by running it himself. Oh my god. And just before bed, her boss calls her and threatens to fire her if she doesn't complete the transaction. She can't. So the next morning, she comes down to breakfast, and he's made a huge homemade spread. Of course. She pulls out a binder and tells him what she's really there to do. No! He's devastated, thinks that he failed his mom while she opens the binder. But inside the binder, there's no contract, and instead, it's a copy of the town's zoning laws. What? It turns out she stayed up all night researching and found a tiny loophole that prevents her firm from taking the farm. Yes! Her boss is furious and threatens to fire her, but instead she quits so they can run the farm together. And they fall in love again. Twice? And they rescue a pup. I was gonna ask. It's called Will You Be Mine? First day of fall, you know.
They fall in love again twice.
It's called Mill You Be Mine.
It's honestly not that far off from Falling in Love in Christmas or whatever it's called. So you should just
Yeah,
watch the movie.
I've watched one that was kind of similar to what he described.
That's his whole channel is just like coming up with these crazy like Hallmark movies and pitching them. It's hilarious.
Is that the same dude who does like he is like fake does a rip of coke and it's like, okay, give me this, like the Mad Lib
No.
guy?
That
Is
guy,
the same
that
dude?
guy's funny. The guy that does all the Tarantino movie stuff
Right.
and the Guy Ritchie movie stuff. That's a different guy, but he's funny too.
They look very similar.
They do.
One of-
They actually
he
do.
just
Look similar.
honestly just thought he grew a mustache.
No, it's a different guy. But somebody brought up Ernest's Christmas
Yeah.
earlier.
Oh,
That's my-
Ernest does Christmas.
That's my
Ernest
son's
Saves Christmas.
favorite Christmas movie. Is Ernest
what I mean,
Saves
Vern?
Christmas?
No,
Yeah. You guys
I
like
like this
those
Halloween
movies?
one, the one
Yeah.
where he did saved it from the whatever those things were.
I don't think I've seen a single Ernest movie.
Oh,
How?
you're so missing out. Ernest was such a great wholesome character to look at as a kid. Not up
Yeah.
to, but like you could watch and giggle and be like, haha, what an idiot. And it wasn't like a bad example to be setting. It was just a goofy dude.
Yeah.
I love those movies as a kid. And so I found it funny that my son found them and he's like, it's one of his favorite DVD collections is the Ernest movies. He watches all of them.
Chip off the old block.
Yeah, pretty much. He looks like a clone of me, so it's kind of funny.
Ernest looks like a clone of you.
No,
Or
my
your son.
son. I look like a clone of Ernest, and my son looks like a clone of me. Yeah, no.
I think I might be mistaken, but I think the guy who played Ernest was also the voice of the dog on Toy Story.
He was.
Oh, I didn't
Slink?
know that.
Slink, yep.
He was the voice of Slink. Hey, Woody. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Ernest.
Yep.
That's really cool. I didn't know that. Now I'll hear it and picture his face.
I'm full
now.
of shitty movie trivia you did not need to know facts, so I can tell you anything else you want to know. Stuff you didn't care about.
Do any of you guys watch or like the movie Elf? That's with
Will Ferrell,
yeah.
I'm gonna be the-
I enjoyed it.
James Caan.
I've seen it, but it's not like my favorite or anything.
I actively hate this movie, and I don't care if everybody hates me for it. I've always hated that movie.
Yeah,
I'll-
it's a who's who of pedophilia in a Christmas
Thank
movie.
you. And it's not good. I really don't get the obsession over it. It's like when I saw it the first time, I was like, well, that wasn't good. And then everybody became obsessed and it made me hate it more because I was like, why? Like, of all of the Christmas movies, this is the one that everybody tells me is like the quintessential Christmas movie. And at most, it's like a C-.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to me. I
it
don't know.
mocks all the the fun parts of Christmas into being like, I guess, too candied up and too silly and stupid. Like
first 30 minutes of
elves
the
have
movie is
4
probably the
food
best.
groups. Like it's just dumb.
It's Will Ferrell's
definitely-
worst movie, and that's saying a lot because he's been in some real stinkers.
Wait, no, what the Stranger Than Fiction was pretty bad.
Superstar was horrible.
True.
What?
It
My
makes me.
sister loves Superstar. I didn't think
Superstar's
Stranger Than
great,
Fiction was bad
so-
though. You talking about the one where he's like written into a book, Harold Crick or whatever?
Harold Crick wakes up at exactly the same time every day and brushes
I didn't
his
think
teeth
that was
240 times. Yeah, okay, well.
Oh, I don't know.
It makes
It
me
wasn't
hate a
funny,
movie
but
more when it's
You
overrated.
know what, PJ? I
Yes.
actually didn't mind it, and I only remembered it because I watched it a few times, and that's just another one I could remember the title of. So
Yeah.
just picking a hot take to go with. So
Yeah, no.
didn't pan out. You're right. Fine, I love that movie. Okay, get off
It
my
is a
back.
good movie. That's all I'm saying. No, Katie, you're right. When a movie's bad and it's overrated, it makes it like the worst movie ever.
It is
Like, whereas normally I would just like be like, Elf, whatever. I
That
don't care.
was the worst movie ever.
No,
the
no,
other
the
guy,
other guys was funny because
No,
of
it was
Mark
not.
Wahlberg was hilarious.
No,
The
You gotta
other
have a
guys,
peacock. You gotta let me fly.
the other guys is Will Ferrell's greatest movie. I
No,
will
that-
hold hard and
he's
fast
not
to
even
that
funny
line.
in it. You
no,
gotta
the
look
Lego
up
movie's
Movie
the-
was the
it's
best,
the best movie
Will
he's in.
Ferrell was
Oh,
in.
that's true. Oh no, wait. Oh, never mind.
I don't like Nightmare Before Christmas. A, it's a Disney movie.
No, it's
and
not.
B,
Is
it's
it?
weird.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yep.
Nightmare Before Christmas, in my opinion, is a great one to watch before the Christmas season is really started. Like you watch it around Halloween.
November,
Yeah,
mid-November movie.
November movie.
I found it really charming.
I actually don't mind A Nightmare Before Christmas. What I hate about it is, why can't I think of his name? The guy that everybody claims gives credit to that movie.
Hmm?
I can't think of his
Johnny
name.
Depp.
No, the director
What movie?
supposedly.
Tim-
Nightmare Before
Tim
Tim
Christmas.
Burton. But it's
Tim
not
Burton didn't make it, and that's the only
Really?
thing that I hate about this. Is another guy made it. The same guy who made Monkey Bone made A Nightmare Before Christmas, and then Tim Burton bought it from him, and then they call it Tim Burton's A Nightmare Before Christmas. He had nothing to do with it, and I hate Tim Burton for it. Even, I don't have any problem with A Nightmare Before Christmas. I just hate Tim Burton because of that.
Wow.
I think
Fair
he's a douchebag.
Hating people on Christmas. Okay.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
that
call
ain't
me
cool.
Scrooged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
PJ is really speaking of Scrooge. I do community theater.
Katie, what are we doing?
I'm scratching my back. My back scratcher. It's very cold here, and my skin gets
Back
dry.
scratcher.
You all wish you had this right now.
I mean, like you like turned your camera off to close the window, but like
You
Yeah.
can leave the camera on and be like, just aggressively tearing your back apart.
It felt so good.
So Abby was gonna plug her play where she
Yeah.
played Scrooge's wife or something.
Go ahead, Abby.
Sorry, Abby.
oh yeah, Abby, you gotta
I'm
go
just
sell her play.
very
Go ahead.
distracting.
I'm with a community theater troupe, and we did an immersive version of A Christmas Carol, so people could come and join in the Fezziwig Ball dance, and then the scenes were interspersed, and it just made me fall in love with A Christmas Carol all over again. I don't think I have a movie adaptation that I really love of the story. Maybe I
That-
just haven't seen enough of them.
That is a good question though. Like, what's the best movie adaptation of A Christmas Carol? Because there's like 3 that come to mind that I think are really good.
I
The
kind of like.
Muppets. Frankly, the
Nope.
Muppet
Yeah,
Christmas
the
Carol is the
Muppet.
best one
Good.
because it's just straight from the book.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say the Muppets.
Yeah.
I think the Muppets is the best, but I actually think the Jim Carrey one was good. And then I'll
Oh,
just throw in
is that-
Scrooge because it's like
was he-
funny.
Was that the one that he was like a cartoon CGI? Is that the one?
Yeah, it came out in like 2009, 2010,
I
something
didn't
like
see
that.
that
And
one.
it wasn't bad. It was pretty good. But I think if I had to pick 2, the Muppets is number 1, and then Scrooge just because it's so different. I like that one.
Yeah.
The George C.
Yeah,
Scott
go with all
version.
those.
That's
What do you
it.
guys think of the Nutcracker?
Which one?
The 5-hour Russian version?
I had this conversation with my sister last week, and I was like, the Nutcracker is like one of those quintessential things you think about every time Christmas comes around. And I asked her, have you ever seen any version of the Nutcracker ever? And
Really?
she's like, no, I haven't. I'm like, me neither. I have no idea what it's about.
It's a
I
really
never know.
weird storyline, huh?
Like, I just know it's a Christmas-ish thing, but I don't know what it is.
Babes
It's-
in Toyland kind
it's
of weird
one of
stuff
those-
happening.
It's one of those productions where you should drop acid before you go.
Oh, aren't they all though? I mean, most productions. Oh, the Christmas Carol with George C. Scott. He's also the actor that played Patton.
Yeah.
He's the guy that
Okay.
plays Scrooge with the big mutton chops. If
Mhm.
you
That
remember
one's
that,
not bad.
1984.
That one's
That's
not
the one I
bad.
remember watching in school when they
Yeah.
were like when
Oh,
we
I
were
do
still
remember that
allowed
one
to
in
watch
school.
Christmas movies in
Yeah.
Christmas time.
Did you guys know there was a Flintstones Christmas Carol? Because this is my first time hearing this.
No, but I want to
Not Christmas Carol, but I've watched the Flintstones Christmas every year when I was a kid.
The
Different one.
Nutcracker in order to understand it, you have to just recognize that they're trying to look for excuses to do ballet.
Yeah.
So the whole story is a dream, and it's built around a few events that happen that produce her dream.
Mhm.
But most of the point of it is just to have as many different types of ballet from as many, and different cultural flavors around the world as possible put into her dream. And it's really beautiful. If you see like a talented troupe do it, it is incredible.
Quick shout out to the hairy-chested libertarian on Twitter. He wrote a book called Drosselmeyer, which apparently is like a Harry Potter version of the Nutcracker, and he sent me a copy of it because I had him on my show earlier this year, and it was actually really good. And I just I read it and I was like, I like this story. It's kind of Harry Potter with a Nutcracker theme, but I didn't know what the Nutcracker really was. So I didn't get the references to the Nutcracker, but I thought the book was good. So
PJ doesn't know what the sugar plum fairies are.
They dance in your head. I know that.
They do.
Yeah.
But Abby's right about it being a beautiful, the choreography, you have to go see it live, the choreography is just beautiful.
Don't Vax Me might have a point, but I would also argue that the old men in ballet are probably not going to be interested in girls.
Unless you
I just
see
made the same noise.
unless you see
We need that on a drop.
You know, it's a great movie talking about movies. Did you ever see Black Swan?
Mm-hmm.
No.
It's a good one. It's a thriller, but that's kind of, yeah.
I've heard that I should watch that, but just because one scene in particular.
Well,
I don't watch any trans, let alone.
Yeah, I would be okay with the regular Siberian Orchestra. I don't know why they have to add trans into it. I feel like it would be better if it was just dudes,
Well, speaking of dudes, there was a story that me and Abby came across recently talking about, is it okay for adults to continue to play with toys from their past and having toy manufacturers target these millennials who used to like Teddy Ruxpin and the big wheel toys and continue to have them? Me and Abby had two different takes. I'm sure you guys are going to have a few different takes.
I want to hear your take first, Frank, because I'm curious.
Gosh. Okay. What?
So let's set this up real quick.
Yeah,
Adults are buying toys for themselves, and it's the biggest source of growth for the industry. Kidults, who tend to spend more on toys, have a great fondness for cartoons, superheroes, and collectibles that remind them of their childhood.
Is this a new group we're gonna have to be aware of and tiptoe around kidults?
We don't know anyone like that, so we shouldn't be worried about that at all.
It says 1/4 of all toy sales annually, $9 billion worth, are going to this group, and Marvel type, superhero type things and Legos are listed as a couple of the main things. So go for it.
I'm so happy I took all that stuff down out of there because it was full. It was full. And it's all right there. So I'm still staring at my guilt.
All right, go ahead, Frank. Make Tom feel bad before Christmas.
Well, I don't know. Just the simple fact of going out and buying these toys and having them, and it did elaborate to say that these kidults are playing with these toys. But I just find it real weird. I mean, if you collect them, that's something. That's a hobby, right? If you're collecting something, not taking it out of the package and displaying it for people. But if you're sitting there taking these toys out and you're playing with them and you're just, it just feels like you don't want to grow up. And I know we live in a culture today where you don't want to grow up. The world sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I just want to remember when things were good, and I want to play with these toys that make me feel good. Do
you remember?
For me, it's just a problem for me because I think about it. I'm like, if I were just playing with toys at home and not being active in my kids' lives, in my marriage, and the other things I do, I don't think those things would hold together very well.
I think you hit on it there, Frank, though. And this is the point I'm always making to people is yeah, sure. I think there's actually a difference between people who are I have some things that remind me of my childhood or some Legos or things like that. And then there's I've met the people who are legitimately want to be children for the rest of their lives. And it's destructive. I think it's bad for society. I think it's bad for them. But what I've always said is there's actually a wonderful medium between this where you can relive your childhood in all of the best and healthy ways. And that's having kids. Mm-hmm. So if I with my kids, I get to, show them the movies I liked as a kid. I get to show them Hook. I get to play certain video games with them. I get to do all that stuff. And I feel like that is the healthy thing that our society has lost is, going to Lego World is cool as an adult. With your 5 and 6 year old and not like by yourself in your 40s is a little different. And I feel like if we treated adulthood like that, where we actually showed people like, hey, actually the best way to relive your childhood is by sharing it with your kids, because we have a real problem with people getting to 40, 50 years old and never even attempting to have a family. And I'm not speaking like there's certain individual cases and things like that, but I'm saying like there are people who just their perfect idea of life is I don't want to get married and or have kids until I've already lived my own separate life. And I think that's destructive for themselves and for society. So, yeah.
I look at the old men that have the little train, the model train set that goes around the tree at Christmas time.
Yeah.
Tying it back to Christmas. The people that have the little model train or the people that have like a model thing or a model kit as an adult, I don't think is weird. And if 30 years ago a model tank was being built and painted by an old man, I would think that's just like a hobby of his.
Right.
I wouldn't, and I don't think it's odd if I would have like on my wish list a Batmobile Lego collector thing that will sit on a little stable thing and just sit right there on the shelf like it did all the last 2 years. If it's not something I'm going to go and make, like I'm not going to hold it and play with it like Frank was describing.
Right,
I'm
but
not going to go and make noises.
You're a productive member of society, and I think the people that me and Frank are talking about because we've probably
I'm
all
not defending
met
it.
them.
I'm just saying there's a nuance between thinking of the people that Frank was describing as like kids that are 40 that are playing with toys on the floor of their room versus a man who has like a collectible. Well,
that's the distinction I was making too. Is I think there's actually a difference between like a healthy level of like nostalgia and then people that we've probably all met who are like adult children forever. You know what I mean?
I don't see a difference between grown men and women playing video games as a form of escapism, or if they want to play with their Hot Wheels cars and build a big track with a loop-de-loop. It's just a form of escapism, to a hobby or something like that. That's fine. But if you remember that trans man or woman, I guess, that
wanted to dress like a baby,
like a 3-year-old girl, and thought that's a problem.
50-year-old bald dude.
That's a problem. But playing video games or, the Hot Wheels track or putting together an intricate Lego set or something like that, or like you said with the trains, my dad had a whole model town train set.
And some of those pieces you can't find anymore.
And
so it's like if you have the hospital, you're rich.
On his day off, he would go to it was in the garage, and he would go to the garage and he'd paint little trees, and it was his hobby.
Well, and I've said this before, like I am admittedly a Marvel fan, and I honestly since Endgame it's been completely lost to me because Disney went woke like I expected they would. But I feel like there's a difference between going and seeing a 2-hour movie and reliving your childhood a little bit and doing certain things, whereas like there's the trend that Frank is talking about in this article, the kidults thing. There are legitimately people who want to be 12 forever, and they do not want to be responsible. They do not want to grow up. And I think there's a huge difference between that and like certain levels of nostalgia, playing video games, watching movies, having a Lego set or a train or whatever, between that and like actual, like just grown babies.
Yeah.
But they won't move on. It's not that they're going to relive it for an hour on a weekend of a year. To have a little bit of it's a rainy day kind of a fun thing. It's not that. This is what they do every week. They go to the events and they go to the cons and they don't have kids.
Me and my wife will do like Nerf wars in the house once in a while. That doesn't mean we're children forever.
Mr. and I too.
It reminds for that hour.
It reminds me of some of those things I see sometimes. It's from like Reddit bad takes or Reddit stuff like that. Where I remember reading this one article where dudes like. My wife's boyfriend got me this video game and I'm cool now, and he all wanted to play this video game. Why did it's just that same type of I think level of where a lot of men fall into this area of wanting to just be in escapism all the time. For me, I love playing video games. I think Bandard Mayer said something. My favorite game to play, if it's just downtime for me, I don't have very much of it, is Skyrim.
That's a great one. I love Skyrim.
I love Skyrim. It's one of my favorite games I love to play.
Get lost in that for hours.
That and GTA. That and GTA 5, because I like to go and
Nope.
mow people down with my car. But anyway,
Completely honest,
you mean
on my shelf
Observe
right
all posted speed.
So what you're saying is you like to drive like a Mexican in real life and in video games.
wow.
He's consistent.
So I have a little bit of a slightly different opinion. I do agree with you. I think there's two things going on here when you look at a statistic like this that says, toy companies are selling X amount of money to adults.
Right.
There's an immediate assumption, and I saw all over Twitter a lot of conservative commentators, immediately making an assumption about what that statistic means. And I think that you're absolutely right that there are a lot of people who are not having children, but they're still having that instinct to go over their childhood. And that instinct should be to share it with their children, but they don't have children. So they're just going over their childhood by themselves.
That's sad.
So that's deeply unhealthy in the sense that they should be doing it with children. But there's nothing wrong with the passing over your childhood thing. Like that's a natural thing. So I think it's just the emptiness of the action.
Yeah,
That makes it feel so much sadder.
Yeah, there's definitely
is.
a deeper root cause that causes all of this, and we see it in the rot in society. We see it in the rot in culture, and unfortunately, it's geared toward destroying nuclear families and destroying masculinity and femininity and things like that. Till you get to the point where you don't want to have kids, you don't want to get married, you don't want to have family, you want to live in a pod, eat the bugs, and play with your Hot Wheels.
Well, unfortunately, we've taken everything that's great about marriage and we've boiled it down to a few simple things. And then we've decided, hey, we can just have those things minus marriage. And then people end up being alone and miserable for the rest of their lives because they were like, oh, all I really wanted out of marriage was sex and to play with toys and to do like all these other things that you could
marriage
actually have a
bigger
meaningful
than sex, right?
Right. But people don't think that because they're told, by society that, well, marriage is cool, but you only, you could have sex with anybody you want if you got Tinder, and you could have toys and you could have all these things as an adult that you would normally have more fulfillment and meaning within a marriage and a family. And people have just bought into this like, well, what do I need all of the cumbersome parts of marriage for, like the commitment and all of the sacrifice, which they don't realize brings fulfillment and joy on a real deeper level because they've decided to buy into all of the shallow parts of what they think a marriage and family is. So they think that it's just sex and toys, and instead of having a deep, meaningful relationship with your wife and kids, they've just sacrificed all that. And they're the exact people who are going to live in the pods and eat the bugs, unfortunately.
All of that is absolutely true. And at the same time, I think something's happening in the statistic that we're not seeing is that there's a shift in the market. So Lego, for example, is a toy company, but if you go to their website, it's pretty clear what section is for kids and what section is for adults.
The Capitol buildings are for insurrectionists, by the way.
The way cooler ones are for adults. That's what we're saying. Right?
They have very intricate sets that are they're not toys of like I'm gonna go be a kid and escape.
Do you guys ever watch that Lego? Do you ever watch that Lego show with
Lego
Will
show
Arnett?
or movie?
No, the show. Well, the movie's good too. My kids love it.
Oh yeah, it's like a competition, right?
But it's also Will Arnett. He's in both of them. Master Builder. Thank you.
Okay.
I watched it with my family. That one's actually pretty freaking cool. If you guys like game shows, it's really good.
Yeah, Lego has figured out how to expand into doing much more than just toys for kids. I have the International Space Station. That's not a kid's toy. That's just a
Isn't that cool?
Thing to build. Yeah, it is.
I
really
have
cool.
a 9/11 Lego set in my son's room. It's in a box of a bunch of just like they're not put together at all.
Is there an unburned passport in there?
Yeah, there is.
And there's a World Trade Center 7 building that you can just like pull and pull it.
Yeah, there's only 2 planes, and then there's a third building, and you just knock it over by itself for some reason. It's really weird.
I want to know how NORAD can track Santa Claus around the world, but couldn't see 2 planes coming
because they were too busy. Remember this? They were too busy doing a simulation of what would happen if two planes hit the World Trade Centers.
And not only that, remember just a couple days before that, we found out that the Pentagon misplaced like $2 trillion too.
Yeah.
So,
but that was just conveniently wiped away when that specific area of the Pentagon was hit by a cruise missile. I mean, airplane.
So Tom, what do we have here?
Yeah, Abby, thank you for bringing this up. It's important to note because it's 11:40. It's almost Christmas. We should be talking about what we might be hoping for from Santa. This is from HuffPost, so that you know it's trustworthy and completely on the up and up. The U.S. military, this is not fake news whatsoever. The U.S. military, this is from HuffPost, it's trustworthy. The U.S. military agency known for tracking Santa Claus as he delivers presents on Christmas Eve doesn't expect COVID-19 nor the bomb cyclone hitting North America to affect St. Nick's global travels. It says NORAD, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, which I don't know why that's NORAD when North American.
NAADC?
It must be North, like Nor, and then AD is, I don't know. It's not an acronym is what I'm saying. NORAD is responsible for monitoring and defending the skies above North America. But Colorado Springs, Colorado-based agency, NORAD, also runs the NORAD Track Santa service, which if I click that, we're going to see where Santa is, but we don't want to give him away. We'll just say that he's on his way to you and me soon. Oh, there he is.
That's a real picture, by the way, guys.
No, this
In
is
real time.
This is an artist's rendition based on data that we've taken from space.
Wait,
Oh.
we're doxing Santa? Don't
So
go, Elon.
Is Santa a Fed?
Yes.
I can
No,
neither
he's an
confirm nor
alien.
deny.
Yeah.
He's a
Is he
he's
Aurelian?
Aurelian.
Is he
He's
Aurelian?
Aurelian.
Santa is Aurelian. Oh, there's more. Lieutenant General David Nahom, a NORAD official based in Anchorage, Alaska, said the pandemic has not affected Santa's very busy delivery schedule, but I wonder how many times the elves had to shut down in quarantine. I wonder if that's...
Hey, before you continue on the article, Tom,
It's
I
done.
wonder if
over.
Elon Musk is going to ban NORAD from tracking Santa. That's doxing, man.
Well, they'll probably just announce when
Real
he's
live
left
time
an area.
doxing. Yeah.
Like they
There
could
might-
just announce like he's left the state of New York. Then they'll be like, okay, cool.
Amazon might have a legitimate reason to try to track down Santa in real time, you know,
Put him out once and for
put
all.
him out. Yeah.
Katie,
you-
you
Sorry,
said
go ahead.
that Mrs. Santa Claus had an interview in Canada.
Yeah. So the Canadian version of Dr. Fauci is a Asian woman.
Dr.
And-
Fouché.
Of course.
Yeah,
Of course.
I think actually her name is Lee, something Lee. But she had a conversation with Mrs. Claus where Mrs. Claus assured all Canadian children that Santa Claus has been fully vaccinated and has had all of his boosters, and there's nothing to worry about. And
great.
I just really, when I saw this interview, I just felt sad for Canadians.
And the part
Old,
that
old
Katie's
Saint Nick's gonna have myocarditis. He's not
Yeah,
gonna get to you on time.
and the part that Katie Zeta is withholding from you during that interview, Mrs. Claus started coughing and sneezing, and the health minister of Canada said, "Hey, we have this medical assisted suicide that you might want to look into."
And
Help
then
you out with that.
she just died of an aneurysm right there.
Yeah.
Hey,
Blood
do you
clot.
guys know what you call a kid who doesn't believe in Santa Claus?
No.
Kid that's not getting toys.
Homeschooler?
A rebel
Homeschooler.
without a clause.
A rebel without claws.
Okay.
Tom's
I'm
working on
gonna
it. Tom's gonna have kids within the next year. I'm just.
He is.
This is
He's
my.
working on dad jokes.
We
man.
tried
Love it.
today, so cross your fingers. And again tomorrow, and again the next day. And just keep on trying.
Keep
I
us
told-
keep us in the loop there, Tom.
Trying to
told
have
my
a Christmas baby.
I told my son the other day we were driving, and PJ, the whole pubcast, with the exception of Katie Zed, got to actually hear my real time driving instruction to my son the other day.
Tom pocket dialed us on the Telegram with his all right, pull over here. You know,
I did not.
I did.
you didn't hear it. He probably deleted it by that point or something.
I
but it
mean,
was funny.
Frank did.
I did.
Did I say
Not
Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Oh,
Tom,
I'm
me.
sorry. Frank pocket dialed us.
Eggnog got to you.
Yeah.
And Evan Williams eggnog is strong, but it is good.
And so
You know,
anyway,
Santa's gonna make a few mistakes tonight when he's dropping off presents, not because of the booster, but because he's North Polish.
do you know why submarines sink? That the Polish army makes.
Because they use. Oh shoot! I've heard this one before.
Yeah, it's screen doors.
Screen doors or something
Screen
like
doors.
that. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I was telling my
What
son.
happened to Polish jokes, by the way? Those used to be the all the
Yeah.
craze, and
They
they just
were
ran
all-
away.
We
My
all
whole
found out
elementary.
that Poland is really based. That's what happened to
That's
him.
what happens.
Do you guys know more of a Christmas thought here? Do you know what the third wise man said after the first two gave their gold and frankincense?
But wait, there's myrrh.
Damn. There you go. All right, that's it. That's the show.
Oh man.
Oh, do you know what falls at the North Pole and never gets hurt?
Snow.
No.
Snow. That's right.
I love
You
it,
gotta
Tom.
keep that
You
on
are
handy.
on the road of dad jokes. You'll be
Hell
a dad
yeah.
soon.
I saw someone say Santa Claus in the chat. That's why I was showing this earlier.
Oh, gotcha.
Santa Claus, you'll get no presents and you'll be happy.
You won't even get cold.
You'll
if
be
you're-
Hell no, it's
bad.
banned.
you'll
You'll-
get
yeah.
cold and you'll be joyous.
You'll get some dried bugs in a package, freeze dried.
Yeah,
dried-
meal-
So
worms.
before the whole bugs thing became a push from the World Economic Forum, like you could find candied bugs at different stores, like kind of as a gag gift. And I gave one to my son when he was 4, and I've never seen a kid throw up so intensely before.
no.
Because it was just like funny. It was just like, oh, you can buy a box of like flavored crickets, and I was like, that's
Chocolate-covered
funny, right?
crickets or something.
Yeah. Well, I think these were like they were like a different. They weren't chocolate, but there was some type of flavor on them. And I gave it to my son when he was 4, and I've never seen a kid throw up so much, like just projectile vomit everywhere. So
Right.
Isn't that kind of interesting? Like
Wow.
now, after having kept chickens for a while, I realize what they want to do for us is the same thing. Like they want us to be their like human version of a chicken. Like it's very simple. I keep the
Right.
chickens in their pod. They eat the bugs,
Mhm.
and then I get stuff from it, and they don't know. They're none the wiser. I just
Well, we're
take
just
the eggs and
livestock.
they just do whatever. So
Yeah.
they want us to literally just be eating the cheapest thing possible, eat the bugs, live in your little hole in the wall, don't go anywhere.
Mhm.
That's a pod, and then you'll be the human production and the fuel that we need for our elite society that you don't get to be a part of.
well, it's sort of livestock to them. And here's the other thing too, like for people who think, well, oh, it actually makes sense. Bugs are cheaper and you can make burgers and shit out of. You know that chickens have a certain enzyme that breaks down grasshoppers and crickets, and then they
Chitin
turn
or
it
something
into
in it?
protein. And we don't have it. So here's like the big thing isn't even just that they want us to be livestock. The biggest thing they want us to be weak.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. Like if you eat bugs, you're going to be deficient in everything, and you're going to be this, soy boy beta male. That's a soy boy is a conspiracy theory according to the TikTok censors. Did you know that?
No, I
me
did
and
not know
Abby, me and Abby covered this. I'll find it for you guys while we're talking about this. But there's a conspiracy triangle that was put out by the lead TikTok censor. It was like a year or 2 ago, and in this, one of the dangerous conspiracy theories is soy boys. Yeah, you're not allowed to believe that there are
They
men
are
who are
dangerous.
just weak and yeah. So I'll try to Google this
While
one.
you're doing that, we got a few minutes before last call coming in, and we got about 3 minutes in. I just wanted to do a quick roundtable with
Big
everybody
thank you
here.
to all the people that are watching.
Yes, I was going to go around and thank everybody here in a minute. Thank you, Tom.
Oh no, not us. I said the
Oh.
people that are watching. I said
No, gotcha.
I think there's
sorry.
a delay here, Frank. Go ahead.
I think so. Anyway, so before we headed to the last call, is there anything that you guys are looking for tomorrow on Christmas? Is there any traditions you guys do for Christmas? Is there something that you're looking forward to doing with your family?
I'm very much looking forward to spending time with my family. Every year since my niece and nephew were born, we spend Christmas morning at my sister's house because they used to be children in the family, and now they're both. My niece is a junior in college. My nephew graduated last year and actually took a job in Mississippi, using his journalism degree, which is great that he's actually using the degree he got. But it's so good to see the kids because they don't live here anymore, and I'm very much looking forward to spending time with them.
Well, thank you for sharing with that, Katie said. Anybody else?
Go ahead, Abby. I'm still looking at this thing.
It's gonna be lame. It's just opening presents, but my sister and I just historically have always done a lot for each other. So she'll come over and I have way more presents for her than my husband, and he knows the score, and that's just how it is. So
For us, we're actually what we typically do on Christmas mornings. We'll wake up and we'll make breakfast casserole, and the kids will get to open their stockings. And real quick question, just to get a survey with all of you guys that are on here right now. Do you guys wrap the presents inside the stockings, or do you just put the stuff in the stockings?
I don't wrap them in the stockings.
Oh,
I
yeah,
just put them in the
just-
stockings.
The stocking is the wrapping.
Yeah.
Kate,
I agree with
Abby,
that.
what'd you say?
it said it depends on the year. This year things were little, so I didn't. But if they're a
Okay.
little bit bigger, I'll wrap them.
Tom?
No wrapping in the stocking.
Yeah, I want to know what
is
the
the
chat
holder.
thinks.
Yeah,
us-
what's the chat think about that? Because me and my wife have this discussion every year. I grew up where I didn't get anything wrapped in my stocking, and she grew up where everything got wrapped. So we always have this discussion every year when we're wrapping presents. And I'm like, I'm not wrapping a stocking. I said, I'm not wrapping this candy. She's
Right.
like,
Yeah, the
yes,
stocking
you
things
are
are so small. They're kind of like the little things that you otherwise wouldn't wrap because there's
Yeah. So we wrap stockings anyway. Yeah. So we'll wake up in the morning. We'll do breakfast casserole. The kids will get to unwrap their stockings. And then we have my in-laws come over, and they'll have these big boxes. My mother-in-law gets the kids for their Christmas presents, one big box, and it has a bunch of little presents inside of it. And they open that, and then we finally get to our presents, where I get to sit in the middle. I hand out the presents to everybody. We got to make sure everyone has equal number of presents. If not, we're going to have a crying kid somewhere down the road. And then we have a nice lunch, and we gather around. We'll watch something on the television, a movie of some Christmas movie. This year, The Chosen season 3 is premiering episode 3 tomorrow night at 7. So we'll gather around for that tomorrow night and watch that. And
I'm looking forward to that one
that.
too. The
Me as
Chosen's
well.
been so good.
It has been. So that's what we do on Christmas as a tradition in my family. And so did you have anything, PJ?
Yeah. So for us, like the stockings is a big thing for us. I know a lot of people have just kind of done away with the stockings. They just put stuff under the trees. We love the stockings, and it was a tradition in our family before that we like always, pick out our own stockings. Mine's like a tactical looking stocking that you can put like
Of course
magazines
it
and stuff
is.
in. And then my son's is Darth Vader, and my
it's like a
daughter's
plate
is
carrier, isn't it?
it should be. It's like it's got Molly attachments and all. It's pretty cool. So mine's like a tactical.
Has a butt
stocking.
stock on it.
Yeah, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? And like the stocking is a big thing for us this year. Like the big present is that I'm sending my wife and kids out to see her family
So
because
it's a
they live
present
out
for
in
you, then.
Sending them
present
away.
for me. Don't say it's a present that I get to send my wife
Shipping
to my
off the
mother-in-law. And I don't have to go. But no, like they're going out there. So like we did mostly stockings. We didn't do a ton of stuff under our tree. But now since we bought our first home and it's been so awesome, like my favorite thing about this house, we actually have a fireplace. So like before it was just like on a wall. Now we actually get to hang them over a fireplace. So the stockings thing is like really important to us, and we put a lot of effort into that. But other than that, we read the Christmas story, in the
we do that too.
in the
Yeah, I forgot to
morning.
mention that. Sorry.
And sometimes we'll watch the Nativity movie, or like my kids like the movie The Star. I don't know if you've ever seen that one. It's like an animated version of
Is
Jesus
that the donkey?
Yes, it's the
okay.
talking donkey and
Yep,
the bird.
I know. Yep.
And that one, they like that one. And we have been huge fans of The Chosen. So now that Chosen season 3, episode 3 is coming out tomorrow, we're going to be watching. We haven't watched the first 2 episodes of the season yet. So I think we're going to watch all 3 episodes
Good.
of this new season tomorrow. So that's kind of our thing. Like my family, like my bigger family, like we always, because, we're all married now, all my siblings are married. We always take time off in January and we get together as a bigger family up at my dad's. So like that's kind of the big thing for us is, instead of fighting with everybody else's, spouse's family and me, you guys know this because I've had so much trouble trying to get shit done this month. Like December is the busy time for work. That's why I went and did a 12-hour route today in this terrible weather.
Yeah, I can't believe that you're here doing this after that.
Yeah.
I got home like 5 minutes before we went live. Literally, it was it was really rough out there today.
Hey, we had your stand-in ready to go here, PJ.
I know. I like anytime me and Katie get to be on a stream together. She's not just filling in for me. It's a good time. So like like the bigger family Christmas is coming up in January. So that's kind of our other big yearly tradition. We used to do like a bed and breakfast somewhere new every year, and traveling was kind of more of the thing. But this year, with the economy being the way it is, we're just going to my dad's. So
yeah, you can find that on the App Store, William Wallace. If on your Android store or your Apple store, just type in The Chosen under the apps, and it will pull it up for you. It's free to download. It's free to watch. You can add a donation to it. It'll ask if you want to donate to their ministry of doing the shows, and that's available if you want to do that. But if not, it's there for you to watch. So it's a fantastic feature. You can also, if you have one of the smart TVs that has the ones like Amazon and stuff of that on it like that, you can add The Chosen to your television, and you can watch on your television.
I would also suggest too, you can use the app to cast it to your TV. So if you have a TV that's hooked up to Wi-Fi, all the time me and my family watched it. We use the Chosen app on Android and we hit the cast to TV button, and then it just goes right to your TV. So it's really great. It's free. I highly recommend The Chosen.
Yeah, so let's
Sounds
go and
great.
get last call going. We got a few minutes here. And
Did Tom answer? I didn't want to cut him off though.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tom. Go
About
ahead.
traditions.
Oh no, I'll go see my family tomorrow. We'll have a frittata, and it'll be a nice time. We'll open
Nice.
presents, and we'll have a little lunch in the middle of the day. The siblings will all come over, and I think my brother's already made it over from Detroit. He's over there doing like an internship placement thing, so he's over there for a temporary time. He's already made it back over with the blizzard, and my sister is, as I showed you, the digging out of her 2 feet or plus
Yeah.
of.
I'm glad your brother
Sounds-
made it because it is bad in some areas. I'm sure it's
Dude,
really
it
bad
wasn't
over
that
there.
bad. They closed the highway. So my wife and I, we go from Grand Rapids, Comstock Park, all the way
Yeah.
over to Plymouth. 2.5 hour drive. We made it in 2:15. Don't know how that worked.
That's
But we
what's
were
weird.
behind a
Is,
plow the whole time, so not a big deal. And then on the way back, closed sections of highway. They made you take these side streets that were, I think, far less safe, really,
Yeah.
for smaller cars to take. I don't know. It was all dumb.
I'm sorry. I know we want to get on the thing,
people
but
are
like,
jerks, is what I'm saying.
it's weird to me that Grand Rapids is less bad than Lansing because I drove all the way from here to somewhere in Ohio today and back. And the entire drive, it was bad, but Lansing area has been by far the worst in the state that I've seen or talked to. And it's
That's
weird
what they're
because
saying.
usually Grand Rapids is way worse, and Lansing right now is just horrific.
It is. It's worse here. That's why I'm saying, like, it was stupid that they shut the roads down.
Oh,
in,
okay.
127 because you
Yeah.
have to take old 27. I'm like, that's a
Right.
bad road to be taking here in
It is.
Lansing.
Yeah.
Here in
And-
Georgia, if 2 snowflakes fall from the sky, everything shuts down.
I know. You guys shut down when I was there like
Yeah.
8 years ago for like a half inch of snow. It was crazy.
You,
Yeah.
you guys are dropping them from the sky now?
Mhm.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
We just make fun of them on social media. You guys are
Yeah.
harsh.
Here's our last call. Appreciation to all the ones that donated during the stream tonight. Jokes and a Point came in with a $5 super chat early on. Said Merry Christmas, crew. Thank you so much. Merry
Thank you.
Christmas
Merry
to
Christmas.
you as well.
Merry Christmas.
We also had one come in from Lit for $9 or $10. Says staying up just long enough to wish some of my favorite people Merry Christmas.
Aw.
Love y'all. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much, Lit. We appreciate it.
We love you too,
thank you.
Jess.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Here's another one from Yvonne Kennedy. She didn't put anything on, but we do appreciate it. Thank you so much, Yvonne. Merry Christmas to you as well. This one coming in from Angel, $10 super sticker. Thank you, Angel. Merry
Thank
Christmas
you.
to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
And Flying Eagle came in with this one. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year for $20. Thank you so much, Flying Eagle. And we had a couple over on Rumble,
Yep,
Tom.
I pulled them up here. You can see these from Blasian Babies 2020. It's over for the deep state. No one believes them. They're naked emperors. Governor Kerry Lake won. That means President Trump won. Merry Christmas.
Merry
and then
Christmas.
we had this from Salty Ken. Get hammered, not like Paul.
Yeah,
I will
thank
take that advice.
Thank you so much. What was that last one? I'm sorry. Tom.
Salty Ken.
Salty Ken, thank you so much. We do appreciate that here on the podcast. And we, on behalf of all of the hosts here tonight, I just want to tell all of you guys Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for coming out and hanging out with us. Hopefully we were entertaining tonight for y'all as you guys were doing maybe last minute wrapping. Maybe you're wrapping the stockings like we do in my tradition in my household. Or maybe you're getting tomorrow's meal ready, already getting a head start, maybe for the breakfast. Whatever your traditions are, we do appreciate you coming out and hanging out with us. Also, don't forget the reason for the season is Jesus Christ. So
Amen.
make sure you recognize that tomorrow as we are celebrating not only spending time with family, not only spending time doing the traditions of our family, but the reason for all of this is Jesus Christ, for providing us a pathway to salvation through him. And no other way you can achieve that but through Jesus Christ. So fantastic that I got to spend time here with my friends, Tom and PJ, Abby, and of course, Katie Zed. Thank you guys for all coming together and spending a little bit of our Christmas Eve with you guys tonight. We will be back at a regular schedule next Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And we look forward to continuing to do big things on this channel as we continue to grow. We got some big plans moving into the new year. 2023 is going to be a huge year for the channel, I believe, in this community as we continue to grow with the Conspiracy Pilled, with America Floats, with Overruled and True Crime, and much other things that we are going to be looking to explore to kind of bring in together under the umbrella of the Last American Pubcast. And we look forward to continuing to grow this audience, continue to grow this community, and being able to reach and share information, having fun, and doing all those things together. So thank you. Merry Christmas. And we have one last one here from TZ Burden. It says, Merry Christmas, everyone. Crossing the streams with JPR of the Ancient Order of Men. Yes. We'll might have JPR on at one time next year. So we'll see. But I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you. Any last words from the crew?
Yeah. Merry Christmas. I want to be the first to tell you.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone, and I like it. Jesus is the reason for the season. So
You stole my line. I was going to say that. Merry
No
Christmas,
stealing.
everyone.
It's Christmas.
you can still say it, Katie. It's still true.
Jesus absolutely is
Even-
the reason for the season.
Even if a woman says it, that's, it's still true.
No one is saying this, and I feel like it needs to be said. Jesus is the reason for the season.
Thank you, Abby.
I think you guys
All
are
right.
forgetting a big part of this, which is Jesus Christ, our Lord
Jesus.
and Savior.
Absolutely.
So write that down.
I'll end it with this. Santa's a Fed. So,
Jesus was a Fed. Is that what you said?
no, I said Santa's a Fed, not Jesus.
Oh, I was going to say, that's some blasphemy in the
Oh,
street.
wow.
Santa is a Fed. Jesus is the reason for the season. Merry
Yes.
Christmas. I
The
said it first.
crucifixion was an inside job.
We're leaving.
Merry
I hope
Christmas,
you all have
everyone.
a great
Merry Christmas.
Christmas.
Merry
Enjoy
Christmas.
your time with your family. And God bless. We love you guys.